Hey, what's up, Capers?
What's up, Capers?
Hey, Capers!
Happy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
Or Saturday or Sunday.
Hey, whichever day, we don't discriminate.
Nope, we don't.
We're here at Black Cat Comics, our new home for the podcast.
In beautiful, near downtown Burbank, California.
It's like near downtown. Martin, the Thought Junkie here.
We got Chad, the resident movie nerd.
Oh, we have Chris, the film school dropout.
Ryan the Collector.
Chris, you want to say it again?
I said Chris, the film school dropout.
I think there was an O and there was I'm Chris. Film school dropout.
I didn't hear. Oh, that's all right.
That's my cue. What's next? What do we do next? We do Caper of the Week?
Since we're never
we do. Let's look at the beer.
Let's look at the beer.
What do we got? What do we got?
I've been drinking this beer.
What are we
It's called Coastwise. I'm gonna make it sound like a beer commercial today. Coastwise. It's actually tasty.
Instead of what?
It's not too sour. Is it, Chris? Not this time?
It's just not. It's just the right not about sour.
How hoppy is it?
It's actually a little hoppy, but it's not that bad. If you like IPAs, I think this is actually a traditional more IPA. The last couple IPAs I've had, they've been like a lot smoother.
How can you tell the beer's hoppy? What's the distinction of a hoppy beer? What does it taste like?
Got that hoppy flavor.
But
it's
what does that mean,
kind of like a flavor. To me, I feel like it's kind of like a stronger
got a lot of hops
taste.
in it.
It's kind of like the
Thanks,
stronger
Chad.
taste, and I guess on my palate, it just
hops right on.
So it just hops in your mouth.
kind of hops.
It's like strong when you drink a beer and you're like,
I mean,
oh,
it's
this
not
is
like
kind of
pop
strong.
rocks.
Okay,
hops,
all right.
That's the
but,
hops.
you know,
That makes
hops.
sense.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm asking is because, for those 12-year-olds out there listening to us, they don't know what beer tastes like. I just want to help them out. You know?
Don't underage drink.
Do not.
Beer is gross, you 12-year-olds.
You don't need it.
But if you're 21,
Drink away.
Yep. I picked this beer because it has a king on the front, and
does.
I just felt that was very Thorish. You know, this is what he's striving to become. He's striving to become that king in this film.
But it could also represent Odin.
Also,
Got a big beard, got a crown.
looks just like Odin.
Well, you know, the funny thing about that is I don't believe there's a designation with them. You know, it's not like he's King Thor, Lord Thor, Emperor Thor. They don't do that. You're just kind of, I think you're deemed protector of the realm. That sounds very Game of Thronesy, but
Yeah,
They don't call Odin king at all?
King
I don't-
Asgard.
Yeah, no, they call him king.
is he King of Asgard?
thought so.
Are you sure?
I'm gonna say yeah.
For Odin? Yeah.
I would say
I
85% yes.
I don't recall them ever calling him.
I always
king.
assumed he was a king. Well, we'll see.
I know we're supposed to be experts,
I
so
don't
right
know.
now we're like, I don't know, is he the king?
Well, you'll go on this journey with us.
And this
as
is
we
why they call
question
me
to
the
an
Collector,
HQ.
because I'm full of shit. I don't know anything I'm talking about. No, you might be right, now that I think about it, actually. So fuck it, you're right. Keep going.
Let's see.
But yeah, no, I can see the connection here. Yeah, it looks like kind of an old ancient king or like a cartoon representation of it, kind of simplified. But yeah, you think of that structure, that kind of royalty structure when you think of these Thor movies, which I don't think you get anywhere else in the MCU. Maybe some of the other aliens in the Guardians, some of the places they go there when you get kings and stuff on some of the planets. But other than that, I think that's kind of unique to mostly to this franchise.
I think most of the Marvels on Earth, so
exactly.
things going on.
I think I was okay with this movie so early on because it took place on a planet and it wasn't in space.
Right.
So,
There is space. They do get beamed across space at high speeds on rainbow bridges. That you think that would freak you out a little bit. You're not even in the safety of a spaceship or anything, but you know. Okay.
Nice.
Cool. That's a good one. That's a good one. And
Good
This
choice.
is Coastwise.
yeah.
Get you some.
And so then our Caper of the Week for this episode is Sabrina Mullen. She's a big fan. She likes all of our posts and follows along and listens to the episodes. So
Sabrina Mullen.
yeah. So
Sabrina
Sabrina,
Mullen.
thanks for listening. We
gave us some good feedback.
we raise our beers to you. Thanks for the feedback.
Oh,
Thanks for
yes.
being a fan and being a good caper.
Raise that
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah.
So Collector, what did you bring for us today that is Thor related?
So I actually didn't really have anything Thor per se related at the moment. So I got a nice little assist from Kyle, once again the owner of this delightful establishment that we're currently in, Black Hat Comics. Thank you.
Comics, BCC.
Close to downtown Burbank, as we say.
Downtown
BCC. Okay, I like it.
BCC.
I like it.
And so yeah, what I brought you was it's Thor 120. Or what he gave me to bring to you is Thor 125, or I should say Journey into Mystery 125. So Thor's first appearance was in Journey into Mystery 83, and then it had a run up to Journey into Mystery 125. From that point on, it became solely Thor 126 and on. So he essentially had his own title from that point on. Journey into Mystery, before his first appearance, before 83, was like all horror comics. It was like big spiders and beasts and like crime stuff. So his first appearance essentially was in a series that was really more crime and horror related until they introduced him. And then with the popularity of Thor, the way it spawned off from that, Journey into Mystery became solely about Thor, and then eventually just about him altogether. So
another one of those great like comic series titles that's kind of like very vague but very like mysterious, or you have Detective Comics, Action Comics, Journey into Mystery. What was the other one we were talking about last week?
Tales of Suspense.
Tales of Suspense.
Yeah.
Like it's great.
All of those,
I love that.
except for Action Comics, but Journey into Mystery, Detective Comics, Tales of Suspense, all of those had the issues had nothing to do with the eventual hero that became the preeminent hero of the series. So, yeah, a lot of these books really start out as something else, and then I think what happens is it picks up popularity of a particular character.
And early on, they keep their options open. They just come up with like a vague line not tied to any specific characters, and you see what works and what pops off the page, and then go from there. What audiences respond to.
It's a pretty cool cover. You got, I want to say, I don't know, maybe this was like part of the Rainbow Bridge in the background. I'm not sure. You got these cool like orange and yellow colors, but.
Anyway. I look at the cover. I think it's one of those early ones that are very simplistic. It looks like Thor's fighting a shadow in this thing. It's just Thor. He's just about to swing, and you see a shadow on the ground, and that's it. No background, just a couple colors.
Is it Thanos?
Rainbow Bridge.
No, it is not there. He actually didn't come till later. So.
Oh, okay.
But it almost kind of looks like it's him because you see a hammer in the shadow. Yeah, so I think that's just his shadow.
The Immortals says when meets the Immortals.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of Thor in his. He's got a look that kind of looks very different from what he ends up looking like on screen. Like a lot of these heroes, you kind of adapt them so they won't look too ridiculous in a movie. So
Ragnarok, right? Then he got that hat.
Yeah, he's got like a red cape and he's got this like silver winged hat and big yellow boots.
The helmet came on in the first issue of him, but it didn't come in until the third movie in the series. So
a lot of it's based on actual mythology.
Before the movie, he's actually been known for having this helmet. That's been like one of the helmet and the hammer.
Yeah,
that's a staple.
And what you have to remember, Marvel did not create Thor. He's as Chad just mentioned, he's a mythical god from Norse mythology, and I believe his hammer is too Mjolnir. Right. So they just essentially kind of played upon that and then created their own version.
Hey, why not? That stuff's not copyrighted,
No, exactly.
Take whatever ideas you want.
So
the original Norse stuff. Yep. So what year is this from again?
I'm not 100% sure, but it's going to be in the late 60s.
The 60s?
So still the Silver Age, late 60s. It's a cool book. It doesn't go for a lot of money, but and of course in higher grade it does, but so last issue of Journey to Mystery before he got his own official series of just
How much
Thor.
is this one worth?
This one that Kyle's given me in the condition, I would say in the $40 to $50 range.
It's not bad for starting out 12 cents.
For sure.
That's quite
maybe a tad more, but definitely under 100.
That's still kind of cool. It's like Thor under his old banner before taking it's kind of great.
His costume here looks. I feel like the Marvel Universe did a good job at mimicking his costume here. That looks very much what the Thor looks like.
It does, yeah. He still gets the cape and all sorts.
Well, and he's got those little kind of circular lightning conductors on his
muscles
chest thing. Yeah, and definitely the muscles.
Yeah, pretty much. Nice, very cool.
That's my contribution to this one.
Nice, awesome.
Nice, man.
Yeah, it's a cool book.
Well, I'm very excited to watch this. I think I said this in the podcast before. Thor is probably at one point it was like my number 4 or 5 in my top 5. So,
what is it now?
It's probably like
of
7.
Just Marvel
of
movies?
all superhero films.
All superhero.
Wait, what?
Wow. Okay.
Thor 1, the one we're about to watch?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
it's a bold statement.
I like
it.
That's surprising. I did not know that.
All right.
Wow, and it wasn't even directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Nope.
Crazy. Okay.
Awesome. Who directed this one? I forgot.
Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, are we ready to get started?
Let's launch this bad.
All right. So if you're watching along, we're gonna start this movie in 5, 4, 3,
2,
2
1,
and playing Thor.
Play.
So we start with the Paramount logo. This was actually the last of the Marvel movies that was actually released by Paramount Pictures.
Really? Okay.
So after this, oh no, you know what? I'm sorry. Captain America, which came out 2 months after this, was the last one, and then starting with the Avengers. Even though the Avengers has the Paramount logo because Paramount helped produce it, it was actually released by Disney.
Okay. So on the Avengers, is there Disney then Paramount then Marvel logo, or
I don't think there is no Disney logo. It actually just opens with the Paramount and the Marvel logos, and maybe I think at the very end of the credits they'll say like distributed by Walt Disney Motion Pictures or something,
okay.
which they still show at the end of the credits. But
Disney played the long game. They're like, you know what? We don't need the recognition now.
yeah, like
we'll
we'll have infinite years of infinite movies. Like we can give up these couple that you guys already filmed.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch the Avengers.
Yeah, so now we're back in New Mexico where we ended in the end credit scene of Iron Man 2 with them discovering the hammer and everything. So, yeah.
And we have Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman. Jane Foster actually appeared in the second ever issue of Thor first appearing, so Journey to Mystery 84.
Yeah.
And it was second appearance of Thor, of course, as well. So she was in there early on. Unlike, well, Pepper Potts, for example, did come a tad later, but she was pretty early too. So a lot of their kind of love interest do actually come pretty early on with most of these characters. So,
I love the fact
comics.
that she's actually in this Thor world.
Yeah.
Because when I was watching this, I felt like, oh, they probably just made this character up.
Yeah.
But now,
Yeah.
And
she's-
you want to know something funny about Jane Foster? So this happened about, I want to say 2-3 years ago. Marvel issued a brand new comic book where she got Thor's powers. And she was the new Thor.
Oh, I think I heard about that.
Yeah, it was a big deal. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it'll be... they kind of... Natalie Portman having other commitments or interests now, kind of... They've written Jane out of the MCU, kind of.
Yes,
So
yeah.
At least I'm pretty sure it's
they
Jane
explain
Foster.
her away, so maybe it won't be... If they end up doing that in the future, it probably won't be Natalie Portman.
Wait,
donning
comic book
the
fans-
costume.
I think they play a little bit, not in the sense of her getting the powers, but then her getting this kind of
Yeah.
like power in part 2 in the Dark World, where she gets the orb in her, and the gem in her.
yeah.
Comic book fans, please correct me if I'm wrong, because once again, I'm pretty sure it was Jane who got his powers, but I could be wrong, but feel free to comment in and let me know. So
Yeah, they actually filmed this movie in New Mexico, and they also did a lot in Southern California as well, because this was still which we talked about before, Marvel had signed a long-term deal with like the Raleigh Studios down in Playa Vista down here near Los Angeles, so they were still filming things there.
Was this? Remember, we had that big influx of production that left Los Angeles to go to.
That's part of it. Probably
to
Marvel
New
moved
Mexico.
to. Now they're all based out of Atlanta. Now they filmed this last several movies
Yeah.
there. Yep.
Now we have we don't know. It looks like a giant tornado coming from the sky, and there's a guy in it, which we're gonna soon find out it's Thor.
Oh, does this start off and go backwards?
Spoiler alert.
it does.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well, it
yeah.
goes very backwards because it goes to when Thor's a kid.
So
So
we have Jane Foster and then Jane Foster's friend who's from Two
I
Broke
forget.
Girls. What's her name?
Well, Kat Dennings plays her.
Kat Dennings. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Would you call her?
She's from Two Broke Girls.
She started the same year as this movie. So like I think we talked about during that end credit scene of Iron Man 2 when they teased Thor's hammer. I knew nothing about these characters. I knew
Yeah.
nothing about it,
Yeah.
and it was all like really exciting for me to learn about it and be sucked into the world. And
Yeah.
here's the flashback. Now we're back in 965 AD.
Jesus.
So it's kind of cool how they do, like we said, the Marvel writers, Stan Lee and the
Yeah.
others took their inspiration from these characters and these stories from actual Norse mythology.
Right.
But in the world of the comic, I'm assuming you see stuff like this in the comics too, going back to actual
Yeah, I believe you
Norse
do.
civilization. It's cool that they acknowledge the history, and this is like, oh, that's why these Norse people came up with these religions, because they were actually visited by these beings from another world.
Mm-hmm.
Ancient aliens theory, basically.
Yep.
Oh.
If you ever watched that on the History Channel,
Your favorite show?
yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating stuff,
if I'm gonna go, I don't mind going that way. We just frozen to death from the ice giants. I think that's fine.
I mean, it's quick way to go.
it's quick, right? Yeah, exactly. At least it's painless.
They were yelling. I don't know how painless it is, but it's really quick though.
It's kind of a Lord of the Rings looking scene there. Actually,
Yeah.
Peter Jackson was in almost directed this movie,
Really?
but then he decided to go do
Really?
the Hobbit trilogy, so he was in the running.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So this scene
should've
always
done it.
interests me. This battle because, Odin he's like the All-Father. He's like one of the strongest beings in the Marvel universe, and in the movie, he kind of just has like his thing where he can like shoot the fiery thing at people, which is cool. I mean, he definitely is portrayed as being powerful in the movie, but I don't know. I always thought there'd be kind of more. You'd see more to him as far as his abilities, because in the comics he really is. He's got. I think there's more to him. So.
Doesn't the Frost Giant here look just like the Night King from Game of Thrones?
A bigger version of him, but
very similar, very similar.
Well, this came first, so where's Game of Thrones get
exactly.
From, huh? Game of Thrones, huh?
Well,
this was one of my favorite scores too at the time.
Patrick Doyle did the score for this. He's done a lot of movies. He did 1 or 2 of the Harry Potter movies, and plus a lot of other things. So he's a good composer.
It just felt like I can't think of any Marvel movies now that really have a score that's recognizable. This does it for me. But the newer films, it just feels like sometimes they don't have character when it comes to the music.
I recognize some of the themes here and there. The Avengers theme, the Captain America theme.
Right.
There's a few recognizable ones, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't mind living on Asgard.
Yeah, that's nice.
So
Asgard. So yeah, we have Asgard. We have Asgard. And we've gotten Odin, and we're about to get Loki as a child. I mean, we kind of just got him, but as a kid now, and their first appearance, all 3 of them, as well as Heimdall, was in Journey to Mystery 85, and then there was Thor's 3rd appearance. But what's cool about that book, I guess, is it just establishes all 3 of them together. But of course, Loki in his first ever appearance. So Loki really was a main villain. He was really the first main villain for Thor early on, and appeared through many of the comics after that. So he's very established.
Wow.
I mean, I felt like he's always the popular one.
I agree.
Think of Thor, he's the guy.
So now we're seeing the Tesseract, right? Which in the vaults on Asgard, which come into play. We see by the end of this movie, and kind of all leads up, and then we see more of it in Captain America, and then of course it leads into the Avengers.
That wasn't the Tesseract. That was the Ice Giants device.
Oh, never mind. It looks like it was like blue glowing cube. All right, I'm not.
It has the same.
That's why
you've just been Judy Greer.
The dialogue.
You've just been Judy Greer.
The Tesseract Judy Greer me.
No, it does kind of have the same look to it. I agree, so I can understand that. But no. Yeah, they don't. He doesn't get the Tesseract till after the first Avengers movie. That's when it goes into the Asgard vault. So.
That's right.
But there's Mjolnir.
Well, no, it actually, the history of it, which I forget what movie you find out, but it was in the Asgard vault. It got brought to Earth. It was stored away so it was on Asgard originally, came to Earth, then Red Skull got it from this Norse town, then it went to S.H.I.E.L.D., and anyway, so it used to be on Asgard way back in the day. Oh, here's the winged silver helmet.
Interesting. You know what's funny about that is I remember when Thor Ragnarok came out and everyone saw the Thor vs. Hulk battle. Everyone was like, "Hey, they're finally doing a throwback to the helmet." Holy shit, they already did that.
They forgot about this flashback.
They forgot about the flashback. Yeah, it's so funny.
Well, I want to make a point because we don't know how old Thor is, but he's like over 900 years old.
Yeah, he's probably around 1,000, give or take. Yeah.
So Captain America comes out as the first Avenger because he was born in World War II. Wouldn't he be the first Avenger?
Well,
he's God though.
He wasn't. I mean, he didn't come.
That's a great point.
He didn't come until Avengers issue number 4, so he was not one of the first.
But
Avengers
anyway.
You
called the movie the first Avenger.
Yeah, because
right,
and he wasn't even the first movie to come out, and then chronologically, not even.
I remember there was a justification for it, but I can't remember what it was. So we just got the Warriors 3. Their first appearance was in Journey to Mystery 102, which ironically is actually the same first appearance of Hela. So they appeared early on, even though we get her later.
Who we see in Ragnarok, yeah.
Right. So it's kind of, and that issue is also the issue that Thor gains the full use of his hammer. I don't know what that means, but he can use it.
Hey, you know what it means. No.
PC here, guys.
So now here we have the actual first scene with Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston as these two roles. These guys were both complete unknowns, at least in the United States.
The only thing I knew Chris Hemsworth was from Star Trek.
Yes, the first Star Trek, the very beginning, he's George Kirk, right. James T. Kirk's father.
Wasn't
gets
it like
killed.
He was so great in that scene that like everyone fell in love with him?
He gets killed off at the very beginning. There's rumors that he was going to be in Star Trek 4, whenever they get that off the ground, coming back as that role, but we'll see. But yeah, at the time this came out in 2011, I had only ever seen him in Star Trek, which was 2 years before this.
I cried it.
Yeah, he was so good, but he was just an Australian actor.
Right.
And then Tom Hiddleston was British. He had been in a few things, but not in the U.S. So
right.
And now look how big they've become with this. It's kind of like Hugh Jackman's story of just being discovered and being brought to the States, play this role.
And if you remember, Chris Hemsworth was rather, not small, but pretty small for Star Trek. He bulked up, I want to say, 30 pounds of muscle for this role. He got huge. So.
Did we saw the vault? Did we just miss the Infinity Gauntlet? You do see that?
No. So the Infinity Gauntlet does not come in until Avengers: Infinity War. I mean, sorry, Avengers 2. But
you see it in this movie.
No,
you see it in the vault in this movie.
But it's a fake. It's not real.
Right, which you don't learn, which they retroactively explain in Ragnarok, where Hela's like everyth's fake.
That is correct.
But I think we may have just seen it in the vault as they walk.
I didn't see it, but it's
or it's a later scene or something. Sorry, there's a couple of shots in the vault, I think. But so it is not the real Infinity Gauntlet.
Correct. Yeah.
But anyways, for the role of Thor, actually, there was a lot of people considered. They wanted Daniel Craig. Apparently for this,
thank God.
He was already playing James Bond at this point, so that's kind of strange.
Yeah.
And also, it was Chris Hemsworth and his brother Liam.
He went out for
Liam Hemsworth.
And
they were like some of the finalists.
And this. Tom Hiddleston tried out for
Yes, Tom Hiddleston also auditioned.
But thank God they didn't give it to him, because although I think Tom Hiddleston could have made a great Thor, he was perfectly cast.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I think people like Jim Carrey were even considered for Loki at one point. There was some strange.
Interesting.
Well, there were some obvious. This was a movie they had tried to get off the ground for a long time back. Maybe when the movies were a little goofier. Sam Raimi was going to direct a movie version of Thor.
Oh wow!
I think it was after he did like Army of Darkness or something in the early '90s. He was going to do it, and that never happened. Obviously, he went on to do Spider-Man. This was all, like I said, Guillermo del Toro was in there, or Peter Jack. Did I say Peter Jack? Yeah. I think I said Peter Jackson before, but I meant Guillermo del Toro because Guillermo del Toro went off to do the Hobbit trilogy he was going to until he dropped out and Peter Jackson did it. Right. So I'm sorry, Guillermo del Toro was in the running. Matthew Vaughn almost did this movie too. Who went on to do X-Men First Class and Kick-Ass and things like that. So but it finally got off the ground with Kenneth Branagh, and who would have thought? Before this, he was known for directing cinematic adaptations of Shakespeare plays, Hamlet, and all sorts of things. And
is that why,
but it kind of makes sense if you think about it, because Thor's very Shakespearean.
It's very Shakespearean. The king and the princes and the drama. He's
all about that.
He saw this as a version of kind of Henry V, Shakespeare's Henry V, and obviously Anthony Hopkins. That's probably how they got him too, because Anthony Hopkins does a lot of Shakespeare
theater.
So
he's a Shakespearean actor too.
It's great. Yeah, and
wait, who is?
Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, does he do Shakespeare? Oh, I didn't know.
Most likely, they're British. They've probably all done Shakespeare at some point. But I could see why Kenneth Branagh really responded to the material, and I think he was a great choice to get this to kickstart this franchise. And obviously, we'll probably talk about this more, but the franchise has gone in some different directions since this first movie. It's now, especially with Ragnarok, Thor has become a much more comedic kind of character. I mean, there's some funny fish out of water stuff later in this, but. No, it's a great way to kick it off. I'm also noticing he has blonde eyebrows in this movie, Thor, which I believe.
So that means he's got blonde pubic hairs too.
I believe they darken that up for future movie. I think this might be the only movie where he has blonde eyebrows. Look how different he looks.
They look so weird. Right? He looks like an albino to me.
Right.
I'm not digging it.
Well, I guess that's why it changed. It makes sense now.
I think one of the reasons why I like one of the reasons why I like this movie so much is because it feels like an old school cartoon. Like, you have the main hero, then you have like three of his best friends that are all like his guardians or whatnot, like his little henchmen friends. Like, it feels like that's how your team was assembled when you were a kid watching a cartoon. So it took me back to my childhood watching this.
Oh, here's which Warriors 3 is this guy, Ryan? Fen, it begins with an F.
Yeah.
Fendiel, something like that.
Fenrir, yeah.
Something like, but that's, in this movie, here's actually a small world that I forgot was recast in the MCU. This is an actor named Josh Dallas. He did this movie, but then couldn't come back for the sequel because he was on Once Upon a Time, that ABC show. And so that's why in the next couple movies he's played by Zachary Levi. who was the original choice for this, but then he had to drop out with filming commitments to Chuck, I believe, which was still on at the time.
Who, of course, now is playing Shazam in the upcoming movie.
That's DC.
Our boy Zachary Levi.
So he jumped MCU to
that
DC.
happens all the time.
But I mean, I honestly didn't notice this. He's actually this Warriors 3 Fendil, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He's not a major character, so I didn't actually notice he had been recast.
I'm not even.
They look exactly the same with the mustache and the goatee and blonde hair, but you know,
that's funny.
Dude, this world is so pretty and expansive.
It's very cool.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's very big.
This kind of reminds me of the beginning of like Wonder Woman in a way, you know, when they're on Themyscira. Is that the name of the island?
Much more beautiful than I think even.
Well, they have more technology here on Asgard, a little more advanced.
Yeah, the ground has lights in it.
But yes, I believe Themyscira.
But they still have horses. A little weird.
Well, you gotta have your workhorses. You know, you got
the visual. I love this visual stuff where you see all the galaxies and stars like above Asgard, and then the edge of the world thing. Yeah. It's such a cool concept. That's all in the comics, right?
In my mind, I've always felt like Asgard is essentially heaven. I mean, that's how I see it. I mean,
Martin's getting nervous. They're on the edge of space. Heimdall, played by the great Idris Elba.
Idris Elba.
Yeah,
and he's not like the token black dude. Like he's legit in this, man. Like they don't do that shit anymore.
I mean, he does get killed off eventually, but not until
you had to say it.
I'm just saying, not until Infinity War. He lasts for several movies, and he's awesome.
And the reason I said that is because I feel like in Hollywood, in the industry, I feel like that unfortunately happens a lot, and especially in horror movies. But you get like that kind of character.
No, Idris is too badass for. He's rumored to be a future James Bond still, so you know that'd be cool.
Just call him Black James Bond for now.
I wish we got him as Black James Bond. I would like to see him.
I hope he's not too old.
There's too much goddamn racism in this fucking country.
You know what's great is their relationship. Like Martin, as you see as the movies go on, like you find out how close they are, and like they're like best friends. Thor and Heimdall, and they help each other out of jams so much over these the course of these movies, and it's great. It's great to see.
Yeah,
and obviously they're probably been friends for like 1,000 years.
That's what I like about this film is that you understand how close everyone is.
It's actually a really good beer.
Yeah, it's really good, huh?
I like it. Damn, it's got like a kind of lemony zest taste.
It does. From Coronado, from my hometown.
It's a little hoppy.
No, I like it.
That's that Coastwise, son. I mean, that's Coastwise.
All right, I'm trying my first sip of the Coastwise. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, a little hoppy.
Does the device that they use to transport people from the Rainbow Bridge, does that remind you of anything? I feel like it reminds me of something, but I can't pinpoint it. Like a top, like the spin dreidel top or something?
Shoots something.
Yeah, it's really cool though.
Racing Mario Kart, that's what it reminds me.
Rainbow Road. Hell yeah, Rainbow Road. The longest and most challenging course in any Mario Kart game.
Most nerve-wracking course. There's no edge.
I love it.
There's no edge.
Oh, that was one of the worst things in all Mario Kart. If you took the jump wrong and went off the edge, you just fall into that void of space. You were done. You were done after that. They're taking the Rainbow Road to Earth. Here we go.
See, that's too quick. Like they go through space really quick there. I don't see anything.
They're actually going to the Frost Giant World right now.
Hey, the hammer's pulling him off.
That's some space right
there. Oh my God! It pulls you off.
Okay, we're a little bit out of our time.
I'm sorry. I had to quote Korg from Thor Ragnarok. It's my favorite thing.
I get it. What are you signing for?
So they are like was it? It's Thor and the
Warriors 3.
The Warriors 3
and Loki
and
Lady Sif.
And Lady Sif.
Yep, Lady Sif, yeah. Sif? No, I think you're right. I think it's Sif.
Yeah.
Sif or Sif, I don't know. It probably can pronounce either way. To be
honest. I think because Lady Sif was on. She showed up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, she did. That was a crossover they did.
She did right there?
Yeah, she showed up in the first 2 seasons. The first season she showed up for an episode, and the second season she showed up for an episode.
Yep.
She could be my lady.
We have another Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. crossover character besides Coulson coming up in this movie, who's introduced in this movie, so we'll see him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I think you really get to enjoy the juxtaposition. I just like that word, juxtaposition.
I think we use that word
of
every
Asgard.
Podcast.
Yes, Asgard and the Frost Giant world. It's a very obviously different world, very perpendicular, not parallel. Obviously.
They do look like they're north of the wall right now. They're north of the wall.
So many Game of Thrones references.
It also reminds me of God. I was just watching Star Trek.
Star Trek into darkness.
Into the the one with the second one.
The second one.
Yeah. Star Trek. That's what about.
And then where
Doctor Strange.
Where Khan goes to hide.
To where?
Where Khan goes to hide. What's that?
Khan.
On the Cleon world or
no?
Yeah. Reminds you.
Oh yeah. Okay, I see that a little bit. Khan. You got to do Khan. I mean, once if you're going to reference that.
At the time, we didn't know he was Khan.
Well, there's
we did not.
Yeah.
That's true.
There's there's a lot of Star Trek connections. The MCU. Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch. You have Chris Hemsworth getting his start in Star Trek.
Yeah, that's so true.
Oh.
So this was actually the last. I talk about this every time because I'm a film nerd. This was the last MCU movie to be fully shot on 35mm film.
No.
Oh wow!
Really?
Yep.
And
You see it. You see
it. It looks it.
So,
like a vampire.
Yeah, it's
the red eyes. So I think what's interesting about this movie and further Thor movies, but the character in general, is the progression of Thor's character. This is really, and I'd say even right now in the beginning, it even gets better throughout the movie. Obviously, his most narcissistic. Like he changes so much throughout the movies. He becomes more subtle, more humble. Right now, he's as narcissistic as ever, which I love. I love him when he's narcissistic.
I like it.
Yeah, you guys like him when he's like this, or
I mean, I do. Of course, I want to see him become that.
You like him when he's more humble.
Model citizen. Like I like that journey because remember, as audience members, we're more connected to a character's flaws than we are.
Very true.
Than being like that good guy. Like we want to see that progression in that journey. So I think that's one of the reasons why I really like Thor as well. I did have someone we worked at the DGA when this came out. They were like, I don't like it. He was on Earth for like 2 days, and then he suddenly had this epiphany and this change. Like it didn't seem right.
Well,
it
he
seemed
was
like
literally brought to another world that he hadn't experienced before.
Right.
Now when do we find out? Do we find out in the second movie, Dark World, that Loki is descended from frost giants?
No. We find
is that
out
in this one?
This
Okay, I thought it was the second movie. Okay.
Yeah. And they already did it, right? Because he got touched. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's going to happen
No,
now.
we find out in the second movie that Loki's a big dickhead. That's what we find out.
Well, I think you
He's
find
a
that out in
huge
every
dick.
Find that out in every movie.
No, we do. Even in this one, he's a big dick.
Yeah, but then you
like
like him, and then that's
You
the
do.
beauty. That's
I
the
know,
beauty of
it's
Tom
crazy.
Hiddleston's
who likes
performance is
Loki.
he screws over Thor time and time again, and he's the villain in the Avengers basically. But
We
you
love our
still
villains.
like him, like you like Loki, and because he always he'll always help out at
It's
the
like Negan, you know?
No, Negan's evil on Walking Dead. I mean, but I love watching Jeffrey Dean Morgan perform that part.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You actually like Loki because he has flashes of like being good, and he has his motivations for the things that he does. He's kind of selfish.
So they're fighting now, and we're finally seeing Thor use Mjolnir, his hammer, and it's a pretty freaking awesome weapon. I mean, it can project lightning that Thor can summon, but we learn later that there's more to it than just the weapon, of course. But it can help him fly. He can do like crazy slam moves where it hits the ground. I love it when he uses it.
I love it when he just summons it from someone. He just like waits for it.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking this too. Like I've watched the last several movies with Thor, including Ragnarok, which is amazing. I've seen that more recently than this first one. It's like I'm kind of missing like the witty comedic Thor right now. He's so serious so far, and I love Chris Hemsworth is so good at that. And it just reminds me of like waiting for the hammer, like in Ragnarok when he just like he's waiting. He's just like, oh, hold on. And he's just like waiting for it, waiting for it. Like they make comedy out of that, and it's great. But
Oh yeah. I feel like that's what happened with Marvel is that they started doing more comedic stuff.
Yeah.
Later on, when they found their kind of voice, when they found their footing. This is one of the first ones when they're still like finding their footing.
Here we go. We get the scene where Loki learns he's a frost giant.
There you go.
He learns that he didn't get burned by the ice.
Ooh,
the guy's like,
oh
shit.
So, Ryan, okay, so before I butcher it for the rest of this, how do you pronounce the hammer Mjolnir?
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir?
Yeah.
Mjolnir.
It's spelled I think like MONJNIR.
There's a lot of J's and I's.
Mjolnir. Yeah, I think that's how it's
Okay, good to know.
I mean, it's Nordic, so it's going to be spelled uniquely.
It's so cool.
Oh, Josh Dallas.
Wait, he doesn't die though.
He does not die.
Wait, now they all... Is it Thor Ragnarok where the Warriors 3 just get completely taken out?
Correct.
Like, they are just killed so fast. I was
So
like, wait,
fast.
are those the guy... I always forget their names, but when I first saw Ragnarok, I was like, wait, aren't those like his 3 warrior friends? They just like killed off. Like,
as I recall, the reason for that was...
Except for Ray Stevenson, obviously.
Right. I think because I believe the way the Marvel Universe was going at that point was they need to start representing that Infinity War is about to come, and we need to see some deaths, even important deaths. So And I don't know. I thought maybe there was more to it. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah.
I just couldn't believe they probably actually brought back those actors just to get killed off very quickly.
I know, it was crazy.
Hey, that happened to a lot of people. Heimdall didn't make it very far into.
Yeah.
Lady Sif was not in Ragnarok, and she did not get killed off technically. She just.
That's right. She's out there somewhere. Maybe she'll pop back up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's possible.
She's technically the actress has her own show, Blind Spot.
Oh, okay.
So that's why.
Jamie Alexander,
that's why she only popped up in 2.
See, scheduling conflicts, Capers. This is what really goes on behind the scenes.
So the massive beast that's following the Warriors 3 and Loki was modeled after the same monster that Luke fought in Star Wars Return of the Jedi.
Ooh.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding, but I thought it'd be kind of cool if it was.
Who knows? There's probably a lot of visual effects inspired by other things.
No, I'm sure.
Ryan, you said something about, what's his face not being a token in here. I like, too, that the Asian guy of the 3, he's not your karate fighter.
Right.
Hey, this isn't the 90s.
Because he doesn't need to be just because he's Asian, exactly.
I was saying, this isn't the 90s. They weren't trying to insert kung fu to everything, which we talked about before,
I mean, he certainly can fight, but yes, he doesn't, do,
Actually,
Thank you for pointing that out.
Well, no, he's like one of the last ones, besides Ray Stevenson's character, who survives in Ragnarok. Doesn't he fight Hela one-on-one?
For a very short time.
Yeah, they have a little fight. He probably does a little martial arts in there. I don't know.
No. He swings his bat.
Yeah, he's got some weapons.
Yeah, that's all he does. Yeah, but
this is a big creature.
I wish I could fly like Thor. That'd be awesome.
Is that the power you want? If you had superpowers, you want to fly?
Yeah. Well, no. I'm just saying I'd like to have I'd like to be a god and have Mjolnir.
Wouldn't Thor be covered in blood and stuff from just flying through the head of that creature?
I feel like he went quick enough where he
bullet speeds.
It's an ice creature. Maybe they don't bleed.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't bleed.
Well, they don't bleed.
This looks just like the Night King. I can't get over this. After oh my god, it looks like
the
So it's the Night King, but like
army
1,000
in the
of them.
north. Yeah.
A little scary.
Where's Bran right now? Somebody gonna warg into a crow or something? Or the direwolves.
I think it's so cool. You just to see the type of disappointment that the father has for Thor. Oh, such a powerful motivator for him.
It is.
This pushes the whole story along. And he doesn't yell there, he just whispers.
Oh yeah, he does. Odin don't need to yell. He can represent his anger through any version of talk that he deems worthy.
Yeah, the only difference for Game of Thrones is these ice giants have red eyes. In Game of Thrones, I think they have blue eyes. So, but it's boy, does it similar look similar.
You are really on this Game of Thrones kick.
I can't get over it. It's just watching it now. It's I don't know. It just reminds me a lot. So actually, Mel Gibson was offered the role of Odin first.
Oh, I'm happy that didn't happen.
So that didn't happen. Yeah, well, Mel Gibson was still going through some stuff in 2011. I mean, he's starting to make a little bit of a career comeback now, but I really think Anthony Hopkins just obviously lends just so much credence and authority and respect to a movie like this. He's obviously already an Oscar winner at this point, and he's great.
I really enjoy the name of the head frost giant, Luffy.
Luffy?
Luffy?
Yes, it's Luffy. It feels like a British butler.
It's a Luffy.
Nice.
It's a bluff life.
That is the thing from Mario Brothers.
Yes.
What thing in what?
Maybe it is the Mario.
The Bifrost thing? What in Mario Brothers is it?
That's the Rainbow Road. But
yeah.
Who did it first?
Back in Asgard.
Heimdall's always holding his sword. You can't let go of it.
Look how short Loki's hair is here.
It's short. I know. It's true.
He was going to supercuts back then. Cheaper haircut. Yeah.
I mean, do we need? Just think of how many of our villains have long hair?
Let's name them all. We have Hela. She had pretty long hair. Right. Are we just talking Thor, or you mean in general?
I mean, it's just Thor, I guess.
Oh well, the dark elves did not have hair, so at least I don't think they did. But they didn't have long hair. I know that. So.
Oh, here's a close up of the blonde eyebrows.
But I can say most of the Asgardians have long hair, so that is definitely a common trope. Is it trope?
That means there was only one supercut in Asgard. Therefore, not everyone could get there in time.
No. Odin uses the most just nicest hair products. He goes to a salon somewhere. Yeah, he's got great hair.
Yeah, I don't think
this is
Oh, go ahead.
This is you're looking at this. This is what's his face playing in Superman? Why did I forget that?
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando,
playing
Jor-El. You get an old actor to play some really powerful role that has a lot of bite to it. That could just let you feel what these characters are feeling.
No, he's really acting right, and I think in part of this scene they actually had Anthony Hopkins improvise some of this. He said left everybody in tears, and
Wow.
yeah, and he I don't think he was really he wasn't familiar with any of the source material, but he read up on it. And now Kenneth Branagh, on the other hand, who directed this, he actually, even coming from that Shakespearean background, he actually was a big fan of Thor.
Really?
Maybe because of those, connections to Shakespeare he could see. So, yeah. So that's one of the reasons he was a good choice for this.
Ooh.
And that's pretty badass. Like, I love that scene because we get like, the true Odin just kicking ass there. Yeah, he's like, he can hold the hammer, he's worthy, he can do whatever he wants.
Don't mess with Odin.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Now,
he's teaching his son a lesson here.
Yeah.
This is a powerful lesson, too.
Don't be narcissistic.
Were you saying, Chad? Sorry.
No. I was just going to say that, he's flying through the Rainbow Bridge right here. Oh, now we're caught up with the beginning of the movie when he gets to New Mexico. A lot of this imagery behind him is actually based on actual photos from the Hubble Space Telescope of, distant galaxies and nebulas and things like that. Really now, I was just thinking, too, I think they mention in here about Mjolnir at some point about it being from
hold up. Great job.
Mjolnir?
No, you were...
Mjolnir? Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah.
I
think I'm going to butcher it.
I want to commend you. You said it great the first
But they say, it's made in the heart of a dying star, right? And that's cool. Like 2 movies later in the Thor franchise, we finally see.
Yeah, you're right.
When they get to the place with Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones.
That is called Never Come Here.
Oh, Infinity. Sorry, yes.
Infinity War.
Okay, so it's like even more further movies down the line. That's right. It is Infinity War where we actually see where the hammer comes from. But there's actually a little bit of science behind that. Because when you have a dying star that collapses into like a black hole or something, they become these very small bits of matter that are extremely dense, extremely, like the most dense things in the universe, because all these billions and billions and trillions of tons of matter are compressed into very small areas. So if you made a hammer out of that material,
it would be really
weigh billions and billions and billions of tons.
Yeah. But then added with the magic, only someone worthy can
only somebody can pick it up.
And that makes sense because even Thor mentions in this movie that when he's explaining to Jane where he comes from, he explains that what he lives in is both a combination of magic and science. So he does represent that,
which
makes
cool.
sense.
I like that a lot. I like that mix.
Or the Rainbow Bridge, I should say.
Because you do have... This is kind of where there's the hammer flying down in the distance. This is kind of where the MCU starts getting a little more magical after a couple Iron Man movies.
It does.
The Hulk, which was still sort of based in science, quote unquote. But this is where 100%. You start to get outside of that, which obviously leads to Guardians of the Galaxy, which is fully outside in the far reaches of space and stuff.
Without Thor, there'd be no Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think they had to ease. We've talked about this before, but they had to ease into this stuff. You couldn't start the MCU with this because this might be a little hard for people to grasp. Although this movie did do very well when it was released. This actually opened to $65 million in May 2011. And what's actually funny is Captain America opened 2 months later and also grossed $65 million at opening weekend. It's interesting. I think it went on to gross 181 domestic, and it made a few $100 million foreign. So it's like 300, 400 something worldwide. So pretty well for the time. Obviously, Marvel movies are way beyond that now.
Yeah.
So this is actually one of only 3 or 4 Marvel movies in the MCU now that didn't gross 200 million domestically, but obviously now they're all gonna reach that.
Yeah.
I have to say there's a lot of comedy here.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
There still is.
I think what's perfect that Kenneth Branagh gives you is it Branagh?
Branagh.
I think he does give you a solid amount of comedy in this movie, which I enjoyed.
Yeah. I like him a lot,
very subtly, too.
Well, they play off, there's the fish out of water thing, which is where all the comedy comes from. He's on Earth,
Same with Cap.
Exactly, yeah, he's in a different time, that's just great. That's perfect material.
Oh my god, the Stan Lee cameo, which we're going to get soon enough, this is my favorite one. I love this cameo when this pops up.
This is very King Arthur right now.
Yeah, it is very King Arthur.
Sword in the Stone. It definitely has that feel
you're right.
Yeah.
You are right, Martin.
Quinte Antigua.
This is this town. They did film this in New Mexico, but it's a movie ranch where they filmed a lot of other things, including 3:10 to Yuma and a few other movies. But this is a fake movie. I don't know, maybe, but so it's a fake movie town. It's now I believe it was purchased a few years after this by Tom Ford, the fashion designer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's still used for filming and stuff. So.
This reminds me of just a rundown version of that town we saw in
creature. Oh, what's it called?
God, what's
I'm
Transcendence. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Transcendence.
So yeah, so this is a fake, not a real town, but they had actual businesses like a 7-Eleven and stuff to make it look more.
Did they
legit,
use it
so.
in Tom Ford's movie?
Nocturnal Animals?
Nocturnal
not that I
Animals.
know of. That's a good question. I haven't actually seen that yet. So.
All right, I'm going to call it right
Looks
now.
similar.
If I win the Mega Millions, I will buy this town.
Yes.
Let's
And
do it.
Martin will shoot his first movie out here with you guys.
Yes.
That's what's happening. When I win the $1 bill.
At the time of this recording, the Mega Millions is currently up to like
6 or 7
1.5 or
billion.
1.6 billion dollars. So
It was 1.6 last
a
I
few
saw.
of us
I'm
have
sure it's
tickets.
gone
You know,
up.
we'll see if one of us wins. You can probably count on not hearing us on KT Free anymore, unless Martin's really nice to us. But we'll see. We'll see.
I'll give you chocolate cookie signing bonus.
Ooh.
Unless Martin wins, and I'll be here.
So true.
Look at Kenneth Branagh shooting from some like oblique angles right
Yeah,
here.
that's
It's
very-
actually
this is
interesting.
JJ,
Yeah,
very
it's
JJ.
really interesting. Yeah. Just seeing Stellan Skarsgård here as Dr. Selvig, who of course we get in a lot of other future Marvel movies too.
Like what? Wait, how many more do we see him in?
Well, Thor 2 Dark World. He's in
Okay.
Avengers.
Yeah.
He's in...
I've seen things.
I feel like he's in one more, but I'm not
Not
100%
Ragnarok.
Sure.
Yeah, I think he might be in 2 or 3
He's not in
more.
Ragnarok. I know he's
Yeah.
at least in those two, but I don't.
he's Avengers.
I can't remember if he's
Maybe
in one.
Age of Ultron. I don't know. Oh, here we go, getting hit by the car. More comedy. But
What were
what
you
I was
saying, Chad?
going to
Sorry.
say real quick is seeing him again reminds me. His son Alexander Skarsgård was on things like True Blood, and he was also up for the role of Thor. Obviously, because he's tall,
That makes
blonde.
sense,
You know,
yeah.
he looks the part.
Isn't
so.
he like from like a Scandinavian, like Nordic kind
He
of
is.
country?
Yeah, they're from. One of those
Yeah,
Scandinavian
yeah.
countries. I'll probably get wrong if I say
So
it.
he probably could have played the role, to be honest, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was in the fat dude right there. He was in
Game of Thrones.
no, not Game of Thrones.
Everyone's in Game of
Constantine.
Oh, that's
Oh,
funny.
really?
Yeah.
Here we go.
And speaking of Skarsgård kids,
Stanley.
Bill Skarsgård, Stellan's son, and is playing Pennywise in the It movies now.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Here we go.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
there's Stanley's cameo. Yeah, did it
Stanley,
work?
my boy,
That's
did
a
it
good
work?
one. I love that. That's a good
He's
one.
great.
I would give anything to live in a city like this.
There's
Just for like a
nothing
year.
else interesting going on, so everybody just comes around and tries to pull a hammer out of the ground.
There's a guy there cooking,
Oh,
barbecuing, and a thing out of
Yeah.
This is their
It's
version of
a
like tipping
tailgate.
cows
I
or
love
something.
it.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
tailgating, yeah.
All right, we get
And
Coulson.
Coulson.
Always love seeing Coulson.
That's
Always
what
love
you see
it.
from the
Coulson
end
is
of
Coulson
Iron
in a
Man
profile
2.
shot.
Yep.
Profile shot. Coulson's always on the phone.
Coulson's badass,
in a
man.
profile shot.
So we just got some little sex appeal.
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
Jane clearly
Oh,
noticed
you
it.
got to have the shirtless Hemsworth. He
yeah.
worked hard to bulk up
He
for this
did.
movie.
You have
you
to
know?
show it.
For a reason.
Oh, look how low those
Yeah.
jeans are,
Those
too.
pecs
Oh,
are
my
fine.
God. I can't wear jeans that are that low on the hips.
Ladies
I-
and gentlemen, these are
I
four
have no
very
hips.
jealous men here. I can tell you that.
I get it. Like, yeah, that's
did I-
a beefcake right there.
did I say?
Is that the
I
right
said- I
term?
said
Is that
these
the
are
right
four
term?
very jealous men here right now.
What did I say
Ooh.
in Batman Begins?
Oh, what
It's
did you
like,
say?
Every time Christian Bale takes his
Downplay.
shirt off, I'm like, what is my life? become?
Christian Bale got nothing on Hemsworth.
Yeah,
but,
no,
I don't know.
That's
man.
Donald.
Now Ryan, he had the name tag Dr. Donald Blake. Now, was there something in the comics that Donald Blake, like Thor, when he came to Earth, would actually take over somebody's body and it was like his alter ego persona, something like that from the comics?
I can tell you that I actually have no clue what you're talking about.
Okay, I thought I read something about that.
No. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just
Um,
saying I have no clue.
I think it was something like he has to
I'm not sure
inhibit
about that.
like another person when he visits Earth or so. So Donald
very
Blake.
possible.
So that might be a reference to that. But
Yeah, that could.
Okay, I
that could
just
be
didn't know
like
if
his
you knew
alter
about
ego.
that, but,
I do not unfortunately know
okay.
about that. But yeah, no, it's very
like I
possible.
said, like we said this before, there's like
Yeah.
and there's decades and decades and decades and decades of these comic history. It's like I don't expect
Right.
you who have read every issue.
I do.
Yeah, why don't we asking Chris more of that?
Alright, Chris,
Fuck, everyone goes to me for that.
Chris has his phone out right now. Anyways, this is probably he's gonna pretend he knows,
cheating.
but he's actually
the Donald
looking it up,
Blake
so.
thing, I'm actually checking on. I will admit.
All right, let us
because
know what you find out because I
that's
thought
one thing I
I
don't
read
know.
something about it. So
That I don't know.
I feel like I kind of want to say that Lady Sif deserves to get the schwing, you know, from like
oh, she looks she looks good.
from Wayne's World, schwing.
Yep.
Like,
Jamie
like only
Alexander. Oh, yeah.
on this can I say that because we're in a similar kind of format, so it's kind of cool. Schwing.
Are you comparing Cape Seat Free to Wayne's World? Like the
Oh, without the
public,
video
the
part.
actual public
Cape Seat
access
Free,
show
Cape Seat Free.
version of Wayne's World?
Wayne's World now.
This could get there someday.
Cape Seat Free, excellent, coming from Black Hat. Cape Seat Free.
Woo, 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 yeah.
That's how we'll open the next episode.
There you go. We finally found our opening, copying Wayne's World.
It took a whole season, but we got there.
And I will say, Chad, you are right.
What? Okay,
Donald
what'd you
Blake
find out?
is a character who Odin. I guess he has. Thor takes over his body.
Okay.
He takes over his body.
Yeah, he takes.
Wait,
over
Odin takes over his body.
Thor has. I mean, Odin has made it possible.
Oh, okay.
When Thor's on Earth, he takes over his body, so he takes the persona of Donald Blake.
Okay, cool. So that's a little for some comic fans who are familiar with that, though they could get a kick out of seeing that name.
I'll say I did not know that.
Okay, well I read some things before we do these episodes just so a lot of the info's fresh in my mind. I read that, but thank you for clarifying there. Yeah.
So this scene coming up in the way, yes, Loki is now all blue. We now know for sure he's a frost giant. He's got red eyes. This scene coming up in the way that he kind of treats Odin and what happens to Odin where he kind of falls ill, does that remind you of another scene from another movie? Because it kind of reminds you of another scene from another movie that comes to my mind.
Do you know it, or are you asking?
Oh, I know it. Yeah. I'm asking you.
I don't know.
It always reminds me of the way Joaquin Phoenix and Richard Harris had that scene in Gladiator when he doesn't strangle him to death, but it just kind of feels similar. The way he's like treating his father. I don't know. I thought it was
I forget one of the directors who was attached in the early 2000s. I'm not sure which one. Probably one of the ones I mentioned before, but they were going to do this as kind of like Gladiator meets comic book movie. Obviously that was a big inspiration, around the time that movie came out. So yeah, I could see it.
It just feels kind of similar. You have the father trying to comfort the son who wants more, who doesn't feel like he's being respected.
Interesting.
I don't know. Maybe Branagh saw that and copied it.
I don't know. If I ever shoot a scene that's lit this beautifully,
the firelight.
Like I made it as a filmmaker.
Look at the reflection on the reflection on the floor behind Loki.
Gorgeous.
It looks great.
Hey Kyle, the owner of Black Hat, just walked in. How's it going, man?
Hey Kyle.
Hey Kyle.
He's a big Thor fan, maybe.
That was very South Parky.
Sorry, it's
Well, look at Loki here. Look at it.
It is lit beautifully. Yeah.
Like
he just found out his father's not his father.
These are two Shakespearean actors going at it right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's great.
Agreed.
It's the scene where Loki finds out that he's
great actors.
He faces off with Odin.
If we were to do,
that's not his real father.
If we were to do an Oscars version, we're going to do this, but the Oscars version of superhero films, I think Tom here would get nominated for Best Supporting.
100%.
Oh yeah,
100%.
It's his first appearance as the character. Yeah, absolutely.
God, Chad, I gotta be honest. You said it earlier, and now you got me thinking about it. When I go home, the first thing I'm gonna do is watch Thor Ragnarok. Like, all I want to do is like watch that movie now. I don't know. I thought you said something about like watching later Thor, the more comedic. Like, I kind of missed that.
Oh, yeah, and you know what I mean? Because we're used to it, and I love that direction. But, you had to start out like this.
No,
what's it called? Dark World isn't as comedic as Ragnarok.
No,
it still has some comedy, but no.
No, it does, yeah. It does
Dark
have
World
comic
gets a
relief,
little
I would
dark.
say.
But then again, it's called Dark World, so.
I can't tell you what happened in Dark World still.
What do you mean?
I just remember the ether and the floating dump truck or whatever.
Yeah. Ether getting inside Jane Foster, so she has to go to Asgard.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that on Cape C3.
Yeah, we'll get that.
No, that's okay. We've just given you the whole movie. We're going to watch Dark World now.
Anything else?
You've gotten everything. Ether.
Oh, is here where I love this part. This is where Thor drinks the mug and goes,
I like
another,
this.
and he like smashes it.
That's how they did it in Asgard, man. That's how they do it there.
I love it.
He should be
do they even have people who clean up in Asgard, or people just step on the glass all the time?
Right? Just barefoot. They don't care.
He's so ignorant about the whole situation. He's like, I just did ask for more coffee, but Thor, you have bad manners.
Now, why would Thor speak English?
Well, I think because Asgardians are an elevated race of people. They know multiple languages and can speak just about anything, probably.
Well, yeah.
I'll pick it up right away.
But your question is...
Curious.
The question is, why would he speak English on Asgard, though? I get that.
Yes.
Now,
he should be speaking Asgardian.
Now, isn't our Guardians of the Galaxy very subtle? I don't know if they ever actually say it, but like when Peter Quill, who's from Earth, goes to other planets, you always see he has a little translator in his ear, right? So that kind of subtly explains that.
Yes. How he can speak like
right, and they all understand each other.
I just made that up. I don't know if that's an actual language.
It's kind of Star Trek thing with a universal translator, so we can actually.
Yeah, you just have to come up with these simple explanations just to get around the logistics of it. Sometimes,
Guys,
makes sense.
I might have duty greered.
Oh, what'd you do?
What
I
happened?
That fat guy was in Constantine.
I wouldn't know.
That's okay.
I've never seen Constantine.
That's fine, man. Look, every overweight actor we see in a movie is not going to be from that movie you think it's in. But it's all good, man. It seems to happen once a movie. We get aggregated.
So what's our midpoint? Our midpoint is Thor not being able to pick up the hammer. I think.
Yeah, he just found out about the hammer.
No, it's not the midpoint.
Because he's gonna go
check it out. Shield's already there though. I'm sorry.
I just think about how hard it must be to be like a production designer, like a set dresser, because I just think about this a lot because this is a completely fake town, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like you have to make it look like a real place. You have to think of all the little the bus stops and the benches, and because I used to work at Paramount and Warner Brothers as well, and you walk through the back lot when it's not dressed for anything, it's just all blank facades. Obviously, it doesn't look like a real place. But I saw when it was dressed up for a production. Yeah, you can't tell the difference. You're not on a city street. It's like how do you have to think of all those details, And same thing with an interior set. Anytime you watch a movie or TV show and they're inside, chances are it's a completely created set on a soundstage. But you would never know the difference. You're not inside a house. But like, if you ask me to design a set with a set that's like a house where somebody lives, you have to think of every little thing a person would actually have, and so audience members don't know the difference.
Well, what's nice for them is they obviously have the budget to facilitate them putting this together. But I've worked, you guys, I'm sure, I've worked on low budget movies where you have to be creative and go to garbage place.
Antique stores. Yeah, you have to go out and purchase all this or rent all this from warehouses.
You might have a $200 budget and you have to use that to make an entire house look like it's from 1973. Right. I mean, it's
like we're looking at. You have to think, okay, there's fire hydrants. That's not a real fire hydrant, but you have to put a fake one there, or bills posted on the power poles.
It's wet on the floor. Didn't one of you guys reference how it's always wet on the floor? It's always wet on the floor. Why is
streets are usually wet because
they are in the damn desert.
Well, usually it's at night. Because the lights, it's not. They don't always do it during the day, so that's a little odd. But
fucking desert and it's wet on the floor. What's going on there?
When did it rain in New Mexico last? Yeah, I don't think so.
Right, and we don't know, and we don't notice these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We get away with so much.
Well, we do.
Because
we're KT.
Chad, going off what you said, I was a production design major in film school, so I built film sets. And one of the things that you don't think of when you're building sets is scuffs. So if you have a house, there's always going to be scuffs on the bottom of the floor.
Right. Oh yeah. You don't want it to look brand new. Well, because in anybody's house, you kick the baseboard and nothing's perfect. You have to make it look lived in and used.
It's going to have be dirty.
You have to age it up. Yeah. It's just overwhelming to me to have to think about all. And I mean, like we've mentioned before, I'm working on an animated feature right now, and I'm actually seeing that, but from a digital standpoint, they have to think of every single little detail that goes into designing these cities and environments, but in animated form. So you actually have to model and create every object in the computer and put it in place, which is probably even harder than thinking to just go out and buy it.
Right.
You actually have to you have to design it and everything.
Why is it in real life, but also in the movies, of course, why are government cars always black? Why are these black? What is it with the color black in government agency cars? Why can't they be yellow and red?
It just looks official.
It
just keeps. You don't want to stand. I mean, I know they stand out when a bunch of black cars are all together and stuff, but I think it's just supposed to not stand out. And you can have the dark tinted windows. It's just all dark and it's very nondescript and. I don't know. It looks cool in movies.
I'm just saying, I would like my government cars to be like a rainbow bridge. So that's what I want. I want a rainbow bridge.
But they're not supposed to have any character.
Presidential hearse.
They're not supposed to have any character.
They all drive Teslas at some point. I don't know.
They're all just the same car, same SUV, black.
Yeah.
That's
my favorite SUV scene. Is in the second Resident Evil.
I do remember that one.
They're just rushing down the street, their whole freeway's closed. Even in, even in The Day the Earth Stood Still. Is that the Keanu Reeves version?
Yeah.
They were like, how important is this? What are we going to do? They're like, look at the freeways. It's completely cleared off, and you just see these government vehicles just running down. That's so cool to me. That's when you know shit's gotten real.
Well, there's a lot of... I always think these government convoys you see in movies, especially the Sicario movies, when it shows them, driving across the Mexican border really fast. They're driving, 60 or 70 miles an hour, and they're literally, 2 feet from each car. Yeah. It's wow, these guys just, you hope the guy in front doesn't brake, because they'll be rear-ending each other. But they drive in such perfect formation. It's in a lot of Michael Bay movies, you see that and
just
stuff.
What is it, the Blue Angels?
The fighter. Yeah, those fighter pilots, they get really close, and they're going even faster and up in the air doing maneuvers, so that's even more impressive.
So Loki's wearing his very classic helmet right now of the kind of antlery ears, and this is the first time in the movie that we've seen that reference back to his original comic when he was wearing them right away.
Now, unlike Thor, who doesn't don the kind of winged helmet too many more times,
correct?
That you see him, Loki puts this on it when he's being evil.
It's
when Loki puts on the horned helmet. It's when he's doing
he's
evil
all about
things.
the Flash and the what's the term
the pomp and circumstance and the
starts with an S or something.
Something like that. The tradition,
Yeah, so he likes everything to be showy, which I think that helmet portrays perfectly.
We got lens flares there for Loki.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think we saw them ever.
Little Star
Trek. Little JJ influence.
Yeah.
I almost forgot Ray Stevenson. So when we see him in Ragnarok, he's lost the hair and the beard. He's like completely clean shaven, right? Doesn't he have does he have tattoos on his head? Yeah.
I think so.
Right? He's hairless when you see him in Ragnarok.
No, that's not Ray. That's Carl. Isn't that Carl Urban?
Oh, that's Carl Urban.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh my God.
Execution.
Greg super chat today.
Whoops.
Greg.
No, Ray Stevenson. Okay,
to be clear, he is in the movie, but he dies
killed
quick.
Right. Oh, that's Carl Urban.
But that
Sorry.
is Carl Urban, yeah.
Oh man, they kind of look similar.
Yeah, so
they kind of look sort of similar.
Not really. Not all white people look the same.
Sorry. See, I'm getting all mixed up. There's too many people to keep track of.
And think about it, there's 20 movies that we're trying to remember stuff for. You know, it's hard to remember everything.
I know. It's a lot. There's a lot. We're gonna mess up every now and again.
That's cool.
Thursday is named after Thor's Day. So if you're listening to this on a Thursday, Capers, just know it was named after Thor. According to this movie, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's real.
Release date to Thor's Days.
Yes, we should.
Next season, Thor's Days.
So Thor walks into a pet store right now, thinking he's gonna find like a bilge-snipe in there, something he can jump on and run into the sunset with, but unfortunately there's no bilge-snipes.
Dude, I went to the La Brea Tar Pits yesterday.
Yeah.
And you see all the pictures of all the animals, like 55,000.
And they have their full scale mammoths and stuff sinking in there, yeah.
But the horses have not changed. If you go back,
it's just
55,000.
What are you implying?
There were some more giant horses in the Ice Age and stuff. Yeah,
probably bigger, but they look the same.
Oh yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
By the way, I just wanted to reference because I forgot too early on, but we did get we saw the Destroyer earlier for a very quick scene. We're obviously going to get him later. That's first appearance was, I believe, Journey to Mystery 118. And what's cool is I feel like in a lot of movies they like to change those kind of beings, those characters up a little bit to make them a little more maybe unique or different. But they actually captured him pretty perfectly. He looked spot on for the Destroyer. So he's a cool character. He doesn't talk a lot, unfortunately. But
yeah, what is he exactly?
He's just a huge metal beast that fire comes out of his face.
So metal, so he's not like constructed. He's an actual being.
So he's the thing.
No, he's constructed. Yeah, he's constructed.
Yeah.
But he's like artificially intelligent. I think he can think on his own. So
I see. Okay.
Artificially intelligent.
That's how I perceive him, at least.
His consciousness.
I don't know if he has consciousness. No, so I guess he's not artificial. He's just a being that they can control that can
that protects
kick the crap out of people.
Yeah.
Martin, you know what my favorite SUV?
Here's the cover. So.
When you oh, very cool.
That's what it looks like.
Nice.
It's pretty spot on.
Martin, you were talking about your favorite SUV scene, and I think I thought of mine, which just a scene involving an SUV. The first thing I thought of was Nick Fury in Winter Soldier.
Oh, yes.
That's probably
when he's
best.
got the most badass Chevy SUV you'll ever see with all the built-in defense mechanisms. That is one of my favorite scenes in the entire MCU. So.
Yeah, can't wait till we get to that movie.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Which movie, Chris?
Winter Soldier.
Oh, Winter Soldier. Yeah, that's a great one.
And I think I said this before, but that's the cool thing about Infinity War. You were mimicking that scene, that whole entire scene. You thought Nick Fury was going to die, but he somehow makes it out. And it's at the end of Infinity War, you're still remembering that he got out of this last time. And nope.
Every movie I have to count. I'm like, has Samuel Jackson finished his 9-picture Marvel deal yet? Is this going to be the last one? That's what he signed. Unprecedented. So actually, there was speculation before this movie came out in 2011 that this Samuel Jackson was going to have, as Nick Fury, was going to have a pretty major role in this. But he ended up not, he only pops up during the end credit scene. So I don't think, which was directed by Joss Whedon as part of the Avengers production. So I don't think this counted as one of his 9 movies.
So we just saw the S.H.I.E.L.D. sort of makeshift headquarters for where the the hammer is, and I always have a tough time with that scene, the sort of eagle eye view of the headquarters, because I feel like it's supposed to represent something or look like something, like a sign.
It's supposed to look like the Shield logo.
I don't think so. No, it kills me because I can't
Hawkeye.
figure.
Well, not yet.
Hawkeye's here.
Yeah, he's gonna come into the scene for the first time. Yeah, shortly.
Again.
Hawkeye first appearance was Tales of Suspense 57, or came on early on in the Iron Man series, but yeah.
Oh. Here we go.
We just
another MCU character being introduced to now is Agent Jasper Sitwell of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He's a Hydra shithead.
Who you do find out during Winter Soldier,
Hydra
which isn't until 3 years after this that he is
Say it,
actually
Chad.
Hydra.
Hydra
shithead.
Thank
Yes.
you.
But and also obviously he gets killed off in Winter Soldier. Kind of when the Winter Soldier rips him out of the back of the car and he kind of gets hit by like a semi truck on the freeway. He also popped up in a bunch of episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's what I was mentioning with Chris. Another kind of crossover character. You see more of him working with Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff on that show. Yeah. So
this is a great time to be like a character actor or like a mid-level actor.
Oh yeah, that's the gig. You want to cross over between the TV shows and the movies and stay busy and absolutely.
Oh, you know what? It looks like a big hamster cage.
It does.
Kind of does. All the big tunnels and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot of comedy here too.
There is. Well, when Thor kicks the bejesus out of everyone,
even this, her on the phone crouching down.
Oh yeah, we are about to get some dramatic rain here, aren't we? That New Mexico desert rain.
Gotta love it.
Well, it does rain. When it rains, it pours in the desert. You get those crazy desert monsoons or whatever. I don't know.
That really happened.
Flash floods.
My girlfriend told me that happened to her and her mom once.
Little
kids.
Oh yeah, it can happen. You gotta watch out. I always love just the shot of they have the hammer in the ground, right? And all the government and the whole base and everything's all built around it. Does this remind you? I love it when movies do it, when the government comes in, surrounds something, and builds out around it. This reminds me of E.T. right now, when they cover the entire house in all these plastic tunnels and stuff.
Well, I got another one for you. The movie Evolution with
Oh wow! With Orlando Jones
and Orlando Jones.
Wow,
they definitely did that around. Movie. Yeah. That was a funny scene.
Did they do it? They didn't do it in Super 8, did they? I don't think they did.
Around the train. I don't remember, but there's definitely been other movies too, Flight of the Navigator, which I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with that one, the spaceship and when a spaceship lands and they build stuff around it. The government just kind of builds around it. I love that concept just from all these older movies. So they did that with the hammer here. And Chris is back. He was in the bathroom. So
first caper
speaking of Chris, you're my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. guy. So we saw we're introduced to Agent Jasper Sitwell in this. Who of course goes on. We find out he's Hydra right here in Winter Soldier, but he also was in a bunch of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he's one of those crossover guys.
Here we go. Here's Hawkeye. Clint Barton. I gotta be honest, when this movie came out, of course, I'm not knowing much. I'm like, oh, Jeremy, I think I kind of knew who Jeremy Renner was at this point from The Hurt Locker. Oh, cool. And then I was like, oh, I have to read afterwards. He's supposed to be this guy named Hawkeye. I knew nothing about the character, and who knew what big a part of the universe he'd be.
And I can't help but notice the first two times we see him, which is here, and then in the first Avengers movie, he's perched on top of something both times. Yeah. Kind of like a Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Kind of a bad guy.
Kind of like a bad guy.
That's a little
Oh, now it's raining. Here we go. Here's the rain, and Hawkeye's up in his little bird's nest.
That's exactly what it's like, yeah.
This movie is definitely just an appearance. It's hey, we got Hawkeye coming next.
If Hawkeye only knew this guy he's pointing a bow and arrow at in the mud, they'd be really good friends. Oh, slow motion midair kick by Thor.
That was very Zack Snydery.
Wow, yeah, that's very non-MCU.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So was the tilted angles that we were looking at earlier.
Yeah, very interesting way that Kenneth Branagh shot this. It's well done though.
So Thor sees his hammer in this scene. Hawkeye is trying to get a call from
let it play out.
Coulson. And they're like, let it play out.
Hawkeye doesn't look wet at all.
I like that line. I'm starting to root for this guy.
Here we go. They're going to be friends.
Thor is so happy, but he doesn't know that he's not worthy.
Here's your King Arthur moment.
Fans out there.
Sword in the stone. Oh, and the score is swelling right now.
He's so happy.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
This is This score is so good, man.
I forgot. You know what? I forgot. I don't know if they bring this theme back in any of the Thor movies.
I don't think
Maybe
so.
the second one, but I forgot. It's a really good score. It's really epic.
Thor has performance issues here, unfortunately.
Oh no, Thor!
He can't get it up. He can't get the hammer up.
Can't get the hammer up.
Thor.
He can't get his hammer
But
up.
damn those muscles! Damn! Damn!
With all those muscles, he still can't
Dude
get the
is
hammer
jacked.
up.
He can't pull off the hammer right now. Oh my god!
He's more Hugh Jackman than Hugh Jackman is Hugh Jackman.
That's so good.
The best. Korg is maybe my favorite MCU character.
Clearly.
I don't know. I'm hoping he survived the events of the beginning of Infinity War. He probably
so
did. I think
Spoiler alert.
they sent off some.
This is a very dramatic scene. You can feel Thor's angst.
And everyone's crying, and then Jane Foster's crying.
Another little Thor connection at the beginning of Infinity War, real quick. The distress signal you hear during the opening titles of Infinity War is Kenneth Branagh's voice.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
who directed
I love
this
that they
movie.
did
Why?
that.
He's
Yeah.
like, please
I
get
don't
me
know.
back in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. So
Get back in the MCU.
he's never acted. He's also an actor. He hasn't acted in the MCU yet, except for that little voice.
He's a great actor. Love Kenneth.
Oh yeah. He just did Murder on the Orient Express, which actually I really liked, which is a really good movie.
Inspector
Oh no! He was Poirot.
Poirot,
Yeah. Sorry,
he was great.
He's gonna do the sequel too. Another Agatha Christie one, Death on the Nile. He's gonna direct and hopefully return as the detective in that one too. So, yeah.
God, this is so
They showed the symbol.
emotional right now.
It is.
Yeah. They were doing showing the symbol on the side.
The oblique angles.
And that was because Odin put the curse, technically a spell on it, saying that you have to be worthy to pick it up.
And he's not worthy yet. He hasn't sacrificed anything of his own self yet. So that's
Heimdall knows what's going on.
Can you imagine if you were looking at what Heimdall's looking at right now? That's
I love
so
that.
cool.
I love just looking off. I love astronomy and all that deep space stuff. I'm not scared of it like Martin is. I don't know if I want to go, but just knowing about it, I love to learn about it. It's just standing on the edge and looking off into the galaxy.
JPL for 3 months and see what happens.
That'd be awesome. I'm jealous. You get to work. Martin got to work at Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
So Jane is now looking at an ancient book, like a Nordic book, and it's describing Loki and Mjolnir, which I spelled it wrong earlier, but it's a tough word to spell, and all the other kind of mystical beings from that.
Hey, how many other words have an M and a J together? I mean,
Michael Jordan.
You know? MJ. Okay. Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Jordan. Michael Jackson.
Martin Johnson.
MJ.
Hello. Hey, you're an
It's a popular duo.
MJ, guys.
It's a popular duo. We can't deny that.
Yeah, I forgot MJ.
And I will go as far as to say that MJ Martin Johnson might be the coolest of the MJs out there. So
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Except it's kind of impossible to find you on I
think I'd go by Martin Russell.
You know how many Martin Johnsons are probably in the world? Yeah. Search for that.
Wait, who's that famous runner? Is that Michael Johnson?
Michael Johnson.
There's a baseball player, Martin Russell, or Russell Martin, I forget.
Russell Martin.
Martin Johnson is so generic
He was a catcher.
that Dave Chappelle had a skit about him on one of his shows.
About who?
Martin Johnson, Desperate for Ass.
Martin Johnson.
That sounds about right.
I can't help but notice that Thor's hair has gotten noticeably a little darker, and I'd say that's from stress.
His eyebrows are still light, though.
Still light.
The lightest part of his facial hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
His beard is like perfect.
God, I forgot how weird he looks
That
with blonde
no one-
eyebrows.
Yeah.
Does it not look weird to
looks
anybody
very
else?
It looks a little weird now, I have to admit.
I think this is the only movie.
He should have
where-
just shaved them off. It would have been better.
Is he blonde or is he a redhead?
No, he's blonde.
No, he's blonde.
He's
yeah.
blonde.
He's like a dirty
Yeah,
blonde.
they need to
blonde.
darken his eyebrows.
Yeah.
Before
Blonde eyebrows
Before
are
when
strange.
Chad brought the
They're too
eyebrow
weird.
thing, I'm like, yeah, you're being a little nitpicky. I don't know what you're doing.
No, but it's weird,
You're talking
right?
about dude's eyebrows. But you want to know something? Watching it now, especially seeing this light, I do understand what he's talking about.
Right. Look at this.
He looks a little.
I think this came
he
up.
looks a little weird.
I think I
Looks a
remember
little
reading something
albino,
not too long ago, and after seeing Thor and obviously the last several movies in the past 7 years since this came out, and then seeing stills from this movie,
yeah.
like right now, the close-ups and being like,
It's crazy.
wow, he
It
looks
really
so
is.
much. And it's the eyebrows. It's
Yeah.
the
That's all it
eyebrows.
is.
I mean, obviously the hair length changes here and there, and even Loki's
It's
changes here and there, but
shorter,
it's the
yeah.
eyebrows really throw it off.
Is this the first? Is this the first kind of like bit we get with like Loki's hologram?
I don't think we've seen. Yeah, maybe we
So
haven't
he
seen
did
it.
the hologram during the fight
During the
scene.
fight,
on-
yeah,
So
during
I
the
don't
fight
know,
scene.
like the hologram with both of them together. That's what I
But
meant.
he's not in a hologram phase. I don't think. Oh no, wait, maybe.
Oh, yes,
no,
yeah.
he's really there. But I don't know if he's really there. But he is really there. I know he's.
Did you just
There.
He's there, but not there.
He's not there.
But he's-
And I know I've heard that
So
before.
technically
There.
it's hologram.
I've heard someone say
right
that.
there talking to him, but you're saying he's on Earth though.
Yeah, I know he's there. I just don't know if he's there while he's there.
I love Loki's outfits whenever he's on Earth. He wears like the long like dress coat and the suit and tie.
Very provincial.
Yeah, like when they pop up in like New York in Infinity War, like they're always just dressed like they end up being dressed so nice, and these guys, Tom Hiddleston pulls off a suit really well.
Oh, he does.
Dude, look at that.
He's got a scarf, or something.
Yeah, that tear. Is that a tear or is that just on his eye?
That is a tear. Yep,
that's a Terrence. That's a Terrence Howard level tear right there.
He just told him about his father going into. He told him about going to Odin's sleep. Dang, man. And that he can't come back still.
I don't know if Hemsworth's as good in this as Tom Hiddleston or Anthony Hopkins. They got the most intense. They got the most intense. Good as this. No, those guys. Those guys are good. He's only Australian trained. He's not British trained like those guys. Yeah. Come on, we know the land of Shakespeare.
What was Thor in before this?
We were saying that earlier. He was in the first Star Trek movie. That's pretty much it.
That's it.
That's all anyone really knows him from.
There was some Australian stuff like TV, but nothing we know. Yeah, nothing we would know.
He was Captain Kirk's father.
Yeah,
Tiberius Kirk. Or whatever his name is.
No, it was George.
George
Kirk.
George Kirk.
No,
and then
yeah.
Are you sure?
He tries it. I love it.
No, wait. Yeah, because James Tiberius Kirk
is
that's
Captain
his middle
Kirk,
name. So his father's name is George.
Yes, that is correct.
I love Loki tries to take manure.
Yeah, I was about to, jumping off that, Chris. Like, has Loki ever been capable?
No.
No. Let me rephrase this. Has Loki ever redeemed himself enough to pick up that hammer?
Oh, throughout the movie cinematic series
that we've seen,
I wouldn't disagree with you. I think there's been times where
kind of what he does in Infinity War at the end, but it's too late.
Yeah.
Too late.
But
even
if Captain America couldn't pick it up,
right? Even in the Thor: Dark World, where he doesn't really sacrifice himself, so never mind. But
look at all these oblique angles. There's a lot. So if you don't know, an oblique angle, also kind of called a Dutch angles, when it's like. The shots are kind of at an angle, so you don't have a straight horizon. Everything's shot at an angle, either tilted to the right, tilted to the left.
Michael Bay films, every time someone gets out of a car,
there's that.
It's at an oblique angle, but he throws
a lot of people associate. They're all Brando's using them all over the place, which is interesting because a lot of times you use them when you want to feel uneasy in like a horror movie, like Hitchcock would use it, or. Villains, like in the old Batman show, whenever you were in the villain's lair, it'd be at a kind of a Dutch and kind of at a weird angle. But Brando's using them a lot in this movie, which is interesting. I'm not really sure what his reasoning was behind it.
Was that
so interesting?
Bay made it cool again. So that was last film he did using that angle.
He uses a lot of low angles with the camera, like low to the ground.
There's probably like Transformers that maybe this.
I mean, sometimes you have to tilt the camera to capture more in the frame, especially when you're shooting like anamorphic widescreen, like this movie is, 235 to 1 aspect ratio. It's really wide and rectangular. Sometimes you have to tilt it to get more to fill the diagonal of the frame. But no, it's an interesting choice, and we've talked about this before. But like when you're filming a movie and you film it over the course of like 4, 5, 6 months, you shoot it out of order. You do multiple takes of every scene. It's hard to make a good movie because you don't know how it's all gonna fit together. You're doing every piece out of order. I'm just thinking like every day when they came to set, he's like, "Oh, let's do an angle here, weird angle here, weird angle here." How do you know how that's gonna all cut together eventually?
That's the sign of a good director.
But now we're in a scene where Thor and Dr. Selvig are just talking in a bar. It's very normally shot. Maybe I think he does it when two people are facing off against each other, and it kind of adds to the tension. Because something's off when the horizon's off in your view. It makes you a little uneasy. Yeah. Right. So I don't know. I'm just noticing stuff like that.
So we need to really give credit to these early on Marvel directors for being able to have that vision, because you don't necessarily get that freedom later on in the later films. You know?
Well, we've noticed a lot of weird, kind of experimental things that are a little different in some of the earlier movies. So
I'd say Taika definitely had some.
Oh yeah, he had freedom. Yeah. I think he did. Yeah,
he wanted,
Taika Waititi for Thor Ragnarok.
Is that what happens though? When that franchise is either failing or not bringing any money, we need to take a risk. We need to do something. We need to bring someone in.
I think so because Thor 2 still made money, but yes, and Thor had been doing well. Obviously, great response in the other Avengers movies that they popped up in. But I think they did know that Thor: The Dark World was not the best received movie, so they had to do something to switch it up a little.
It was universally agreed that Thor 2 was the bastard child of the
I think we mentioned this before. Yeah. No, we mentioned this before. If you look on Rotten Tomatoes, you rank all 20 Marvel movies by tomato score. Thor: The Dark World is last. out of 20, but it's still fresh. Right. Every Marvel movie, it's still like 77% or something. It's still, no Marvel movie has ever been rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, or a majority of negative reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
So what we learn here is Thor can drink a motherfucking beer.
Oh yeah, this is great.
Like it's nobody's business. But so can Dr. Selvig, so it's impressive. They both can.
Not as much as Thor. But
not as much as Thor, no.
You will see in the next
Can't handle his
and Martin, you were mentioning Suicide Squad, right? So because they're...
Yes.
Who did they just hire for that?
James Gunn.
Right, James Gunn fired off the Guardians franchises, and I believe he has free reign to do whatever, because obviously that movie made some money, but not as much as Warner Brothers wanted, and it wasn't very critically well received. So.
Yeah, it was more critical. I mean, it made a bunch of money for him to do a sequel.
Right.
It's just,
but let him start over and bring his Guardians magic.
I feel like it made like 860 or 90 million, something in that realm.
But it wasn't a good movie.
It wasn't a good movie.
It wasn't a good movie. So James Gunn, we know, can make a good movie.
Transformers movies make. They're not Oscar winners. I mean, maybe the Oscar winners.
I enjoyed the Transformers movies more than I liked Suicide Squad, honestly. But
me too.
Yeah. But no, you know what? I mean, the James Gunn thing is kind of crazy. I'm sure we'll talk about it when we get to Suicide Squad, but good for DC.
Luffy. Good old Luffy, King of the Frost Giants.
How do you spell that?
I have no idea.
Luffy?
Maybe. Conspiring with Lord.
This actor this is Colm Fiore, who's not recognizable from under the makeup, but if you saw him in that makeup, he's been in a lot of stuff. He was one of the seasons of 24 that I watched back in the day.
Oh, really?
You know who he kind of reminds me of?
He's been in a lot of stuff.
He kind of reminds me of the Night King a little bit, huh, Chad?
He does. He does, Ryan. He does remind me of him a whole lot. This could be straight out of Game of Thrones.
I mean, he talks way more than...
Crossover opportunity. There are different, Game of Thrones on HBO, which is like Time Warner, and so if it was DC, if this was a DC movie, then corporate-wise, they could cross over, but they can't.
Yeah, see, Loki has just conspired with the Frost Giants. After he learned he is one, he's making his play for the throne. Heimdall was watching him, but... Heimdall. Heimdall was watching him, but he was trying to, because as ice giants can hide their world from Heimdall, and apparently he could too, but Heimdall doesn't know he's an ice giant, so they're kind of facing off on each other.
Well, I always interpret it as Loki was using his magic, which he takes advantage of at times to shroud, and cloud people's minds, and he can do that even with Heimdall.
Well, I believe he could do that, but Heimdall was believing because apparently he mentioned the ice giants could do that in this. He mentioned that when he came back, so he just believed it was the ice giants that were doing it.
Heimdall's so freaking cool. He can just see the entire universe. He just sees what's going on. He just operates the Rainbow Road Bridge,
and yet he dies by a single spear.
Tragic.
Well, we'll see. Who knows if he's actually dead just yet? We'll see.
Maybe none of that actually happened.
Maybe. That's one of my theories.
That's a good line. What did you do? What happened? We drank, we fought, we made his ancestors proud. That's great.
You guys ever ridden an RV before?
Yeah.
No.
Well, my dad had one for a few years. We drove all the way to Colorado in it, and it's kind of fun. You set up in campgrounds, you meet people, you put out your little setup. I loved riding. You had one of those ones, the Class C RV that has the overhang over the driver, and I used to ride up there. You almost feel like Superman. You're flying over the road. And we went on some trips with that. It was a lot of fun.
I've driven an RV before. So
camping life. Yeah. It's a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a movie RV.
Ooh, let's rent one and then take it on the road, Cape Seat free on the road.
Okay.
Cape Seat free from the road. I'm in. We'll do it. We'll come to you from an RV in different locations someday in the future, some future season.
Oh, you know what would be great?
Come to visit you.
If you went to every single area where you could go that they shot scenes from the movies, go to that Mexican town or New Mexico. That'd be kind of cool.
Just set up a table.
Yeah, just set up a table.
We're gonna be in the middle of the New Mexico desert. Yeah.
to the south.
That is what they did in the movie Paul, sort of. If you remember
that
movie.
That's true. Yeah, Paul.
I haven't seen Paul.
You haven't seen Paul? Paul's
great movie.
Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
I love Simon Pegg.
I did not
Directed by Greg Motola, who did Superbad and stuff, and they meet and they do. They're British nerds who rent an RV and want to drive around the U.S., go to Area 51, and they meet up with an actual alien who's voiced by Seth Rogen, and pursued by the government. Sigourney Weaver. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun.
It's a fun movie. Yeah.
I think that was right around this movie, 2011, something like that. Yeah.
2010ish. I don't know. Was I in LA? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's like 2010ish.
No, it was around then. It wasn't too long ago. But yeah.
Natalie Portman. So if you think about it, this scene here, we have Natalie Portman and we have Chris Hemsworth. So we have we have Luke Skywalker's mom and Captain Kirk's dad.
Holy shit!
Oh my god!
Boom! Power parent couple right there.
I just want to say that turns the Martha thing into the dust. I mean, that just destroys it right there.
Just saying.
DC, get your weight up.
We got Padme Amidala and George Kirk.
Holy shit!
Power couple. If they only knew how important and powerful and brave their children would be.
Right.
James Tiberius Starwalker. Holy crap!
Whoa.
That would have been
Skywalker.
Oh my god!
Skywalker.
That's Starwalker.
Well, the original name of Luke Skywalker was Luke Starkiller, but
so that's what I was thinking of.
Skywalker, though.
I'm just saying, if you merged their babies, that's what in my mind they'd.
No, that's kind of cool thing about. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fun to connect people to other movies and stuff, but
James Tiberius Skywalker.
Badass. Love it.
What is he explaining right now?
He's explaining how all the worlds are connected through Asgard.
Yep.
God, I kind of wish something like this happened to Earth right now. Like we're open up to some whole alien civilization and all the other worlds in the galaxy, because we really need that.
It wouldn't matter. Trump wouldn't allow them in the U.S.
Well, that's probably true. But it's like we have so many problems as a human society in all of Earth right now that we need our perspectives to be widened. We need
let's get the thought junkie.
And that's what Arrival was, right? It takes something huge out of this world to bring people together. Think about back to Independence Day. That's what brought all of us together, was the aliens that came down. So you're right, Chad. We need something like this to bring us together. And just imagine, if there were different universes and different worlds, how would you feel if you knew that? Here as an adult now,
but
I'd be so excited.
Here's the thing: even in Arrival, it almost got all fucking derailed by different countries fighting over how to deal with it and nuke them and it's like us as humans on Earth almost ruined that whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like we're doomed. We're doomed
because of the fear that we have.
Well, I mean, obviously, Watchmen touched upon it, where
Ozymandias.
I
was just thinking the same
all
thing.
The countries, all countries like somebody to fight against. You give them a common enemy.
That's George Orwell. That's Goldstein in 1984. We need that fictional character.
Oh, you're saying Jews? Jews are the enemy? Goldstein?
Whoa!
Is that where you're going? Is that where you're going, Mark?
Wow.
Is that where you're going? My people are being brought down yet again into the mud.
Whoa!
Always comes back down to the tribe.
A lot of things is your fault. Not that one though.
Thank you.
But we need to unite under a common enemy, and that's what I really felt during 9/11. I was in high school there.
Right.
We all were brought under a common enemy in Bin Laden.
Yeah, I don't know if our country will ever be as united as that again. Seriously. It just seems so far from what's possible at this point. But, maybe if aliens land, you never know. Could be a different story.
Hopefully they don't with, a reason of destroying us. But I don't
want
to take that to bring
attacks. Mars Attacks stop.
That was a great movie, my girlfriend.
Mars Attacks.
The worst.
Yeah, Mars Attacks.
Okay, what version of aliens do you want to see? Hold on. Before I answer that question, I'm going to go back to something I thought of
Thor,
earlier.
Transformers, or Mars Attacks. Or Arrival.
Or Independence Day.
No.
Independence Day is fucking scary. That's scary.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. Okay, so what's the difference between Thor and Superman?
What do you mean?
The
two characters?
Good call.
Thor just got manhandled by 7 guys. You know what I mean? It's 7
Well, that's
guys.
because Odin stripped his powers from him. So.
Right.
He's just
all of his powers.
Yeah, all of his powers. So he's not mortal anymore. He's not a strong mortal. He's just a human at this moment.
But without
no, he's not mortal anymore. He can die.
Even if he has powers,
he's not immortal.
He's not immortal.
He's not immoral. Immortal.
Even if he has his powers, though, he only really without his hammer, he's not punching dudes through walls and stuff.
Oh no! Even without the hammer, he is a godly mortal who can There was a scene in the early fight where he kicks a frost.
But he can't fly without the hammer. Though,
no, he cannot fly without the hammer.
Okay, so Superman doesn't need an accessory to fly through the air.
There has been multiple like online kind of like fan-made battles between Thor and Superman, and they generally, from what I my mind, go the way of Superman. I think he could take Thor, but
yeah. Well, Thor doesn't have what's Thor's only weakness on Earth when a curse is put on him by his dad, right? Yes. Superman's gotta watch out for kryptonite and all that
as
stuff.
we learn in Avengers Infinity War, Thor can die. I mean, he's a demigod, and he's very strong and powerful, but Thanos can take him. I mean, at least with the Power Stone, so he can die. With Superman, you really can only kill him with kryptonite, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well,
yeah,
but he's susceptible to magic. And the Red Sun.
That's true. Superman is susceptible to magic. Yep, that as well.
Who's magic?
And the Red Sun.
Who is magic?
Magic in general.
Oh.
Well, Thor is sort of based out of magic as well, so you can, conceptualize.
I would pick Superman over Thor. I think.
I would too.
I'd want on my side on Earth.
There's no one. I mean, I feel like no one can beat Superman.
Have we ever seen Thor take Mjolnir and fly around the Earth and turn back time, reverse the rotation of the Earth? I don't think so. But could he do that?
Right.
We saw Superman do that in Superman the movie. He literally reversed time.
But he can't fly that fast.
Thor
can't fly.
Then Superman wins.
Superman is much stronger than Thor and can fly much faster in my mind. Yeah.
Do you think they ever considered having a scene in this where he had the hammer and like took Jane for like a romantic ride as Spider-Man? Superman like Superman. You've got me. Who's got you? Kind of thing. Like they didn't really. Oh yeah, but like as he has to have his hand extended as the hammer's pulling him, and then like where would Jane be, like sitting on him or like holding his other hand or something? That'd be a funny scene.
We're looking at a
Aladdin scene.
Idris Elba's character.
Oh, and that beautiful rainbow bridge. It's so
Heimdall.
I just went back and started watching
The Wire? Yeah.
To see him in The Wire.
Yeah,
it's just like,
he's great.
Do you know who you're going to be later?
No. That was a long time ago.
And I'm only on season 2, so don't ruin anything.
Okay, I don't remember. It's been a while.
Really?
It's been a while.
Oh, I'm not going to say anything then. Oh, he just froze up.
Hiddleston's almost like mystiquing here. He's like turns all blue and stuff, and
because he went all Ice Giant on him.
He did.
Does the eye move here?
Oh no, I didn't see it.
It's still alive.
He's done for now.
But
he's fine.
Yes,
sit well, you Hydra piece of garbage.
You Hydra shithead.
See, I would like to know if he was supposed to be Hydra now.
Well, they didn't. I don't think they knew that. Just like with Senator Stern, played by Gary Shandling, who we just saw in Iron Man 2, they didn't know he was going to turn out to be Hydra. I think when they decided they wanted to do that whole Hydra twist, they're like, okay, what characters can we make Hydra
and bring back?
You know,
Sitwell kind of like goes back and forth because in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., when Hydra happens after Winter Soldier, Agents of S.H.I.E.D., half the agents become Hydra.
Yeah.
Was that a Jurassic Park reference with the coffee?
Yes.
Coffee spilling.
Sidwell just mentioned, because naturally, if you see a giant metal beast, you're probably going to think that's one of Tony Stark's.
It looks like a giant Iron Man.
Yeah, it looks like a giant Iron Man. Exactly.
This is the first time they're seeing anything out of this world.
Now, Martin, I never saw the remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still. You mentioned that before with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
I've only seen the original from the 50s. Now, I remember seeing all the previews for the 2008 one with Keanu Reeves. Isn't there a giant robot alien in that movie that shoots laser out of its eyes like this?
He drops in Central Park.
Very similar to this, right?
Yeah.
It was only a couple years before this.
Wait, were you saying The Day the Earth Stood Still?
Yeah, but the remake
I remember
with
it.
Keanu Reeves, yeah.
Yes, right. It actually does look very
Thor's
similar,
looking super cash right here. He's got like the t-shirt, like the unbuttoned, like collared, like long sleeve shirt with the sleeves rolled up, Thor. Like plaid.
Hold on. Remember that party you went to, Chad? I walk in. You were wearing the exact same thing as 2 other white dudes at your party.
Oh, yeah, we had the same exact shirt. Yes, that's true. That's true.
Blue pants.
I tend to do that, yeah.
Have you heard the red shirt, blue pants theory?
Well, I know red shirts are the ones who always get killed off. Like, that's from the original Star Trek series. No.
So, Capers, red shirts, red tops, blue bottoms. There's like this theory going on about that. Like, there's so many people, and it's white dudes, who wear this same exact outfit. It's so cool to kind of look at.
I do wear a lot of blues and reds and grays. That's kind of like my main colors.
I love this scene. Ladies see if kicking some ass with the spear in the back of the destroyer's head.
Right, saving.
Boom!
She's so badass.
She's pretty awesome.
He's not as big as the David Earth Stood Still's monster.
Oh, he's back. He's not.
Yeah. The Destroyer is definitely a formidable foe. I mean, it can handle some pretty...
Now, do you ever really feel like all of Earth is in trouble? Like, when it's like, he's attacking such a small little New Mexico town.
Well, that's because this is just about Thor.
Right, I know, but at least in, like, Dark World, like, they come into London, and that looks like that's being threatened, you know, but...
Yeah. I feel like this movie's so personal for me, you know? Even with a small town. They could have chose New York. They could have chose somewhere else.
Actually, it's interesting to think about this. Okay, this movie, even though it spans Earth and Asgard, which is like, you know, the other side of the galaxy, it's actually a pretty small scale for a movie compared with what comes later in the MCU. It's like pretty much the Earth portion is basically, besides the flashback to 965 AD in Norway or something, it's kind of just confined to this little kind of Mexico, right? We haven't really seen anything else. So that's compared with the large scale of like Earth-wide stuff in New York and all that comes later.
And using my favorite director for a second, think about like what Shyamalan did with Signs. It's just the intimacy of one family.
Right.
There's a huge alien invasion, and the story just takes place with one family. You know.
Yep. Maybe you never see outside of the farm, or kind of like Quiet Place did that too, which I think was definitely influenced by Signs. Mm-hmm. You never see outside the farm and what's going on outside of there.
Yeah.
What about After Earth? Is After Earth just on Earth afterwards? Do you see anything else? I don't remember. I don't know. After Earth.
It's Earth and Kronos, I think. Oh shit.
I just wanted to bring that up just to remind everybody that Martin saw After Earth 11 times in theaters.
You know, I stopped talking about the fact that you didn't watch X-Men,
the animated series.
I'm still surprised that we did not get a sequel to After Earth. So
I'm not.
Neither am I. Neither am I.
It deserved a sequel.
Hey, we got the Unbreakable sequels that we all wanted. So.
They're coming.
Woo. So I like to believe that Thor did not... So he's about to face off against the Destroyer. I like to believe that he did not know that by doing this, he was going to gain his powers
I didn't think that either.
No,
I don't think
he's trying to make a sacrifice for his friends and the...
Well, no, he didn't know that.
That's like when you always see the movie with the devil versus like Constantine and stuff. Like
The Devil Wears Prada.
The Devil Wears Prada. Like that holy sacrifice, you know, Constantine does it. Like that seems that's a very I don't know the word.
It's a very routine kind of premise or the intricate part of every story. I agree. There's always that sacrifice that you need in most movies, which it's easy to relate to someone who's going to do that because you kind of feel like I think people always want to feel like they can be heroes and would make sacrifices. Would you push someone out of the way to get killed in a like on a street if a kid was about to get hit by a car? Would you do that? I mean,
I did it with my girlfriend once. A car was backing up, and it wasn't going fast, but I saw that it was going to hit her. She wasn't paying attention. I pushed her out of the way.
Did you get hit?
And it barely grazed her, and she had no idea what the fuck happened.
Oh, wow.
And I got so pissed at the driver. I'm like, you're not even paying attention. You just hit my girlfriend. Like, I think inherently we had that in us to do good, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
So Thor takes a little bit of a beating here.
Thor's all bloodied all of a sudden. He just got hit
one hit.
But Loki decided not to kill him.
Robot.
Took pity on his brother.
Loki did take pity.
He took pity not to kill him. He offered himself as a sacrifice. He did not kill him, but he did smack him up.
Natalie Portman's been in so much stuff.
The thing is,
she started when she was really young, like Leon the Professional and stuff, and
which is dope.
So many.
One of the things I remember about Natalie Portman, beyond all the amazing movies she's been in, is she was like number 2 on the top 50 Jewish and Israeli list of like women.
Wasn't she actually born in Israel?
If you think about it.
Wasn't she actually born in Israel?
Yeah, she's Israeli. But like Gal Gadot was like top 5. Like all like the most like Scarlett Johansson's Jewish. Some of the most beautiful actresses are Jewish. So
what about the girl from who played Kal-El's mother in Man of Steel? She was Jewish.
I do not know if she was of the Jewish. I think she's from Spain. Not that she can't be Jewish, but I do not remember. She's Jewish.
Here's Odin still in his coma. Now, did we learn
that tear?
Oh, tear. Now
that's so good.
He's Terrence Howarding it. That's what I'm going to call it anytime a tear. Although Terrence never got the full tear, it only like welled up in his eyes as he got really dramatic.
Never dropped.
Now, do we learn in this how he lost an eye, or is that explained in the comics?
No, explained at the very beginning during the war.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
he lost
this is very similar.
Gotcha.
He does lose. Yep. This is very similar, I'd say, to Avengers: Infinity War, when he's trying to create Stormbreaker and he's about to die, and then Stormbreaker finally gets brought together by Treebeard? What's his name?
Treebeard? That's from Lord of the Rings.
I know, I'm just kidding. But from Groot.
Oh,
so
Groot,
I don't know,
right.
that it hits his hand and
Treebeard.
he's got the powers. So.
I love this with the hammer flying towards it. It reminds me of like whenever Tony like summons an Iron Man suit in the later movies when they just like fly from hundreds of miles away to meet him.
Yeah.
And I love that.
This is out of magic though, which is cool.
Yeah. Summon all the
Do you
lightning.
think
Badass.
Thor's friends knew this whole time how capable he was of being an amazing person? And
I don't think so, because they were just like, oh my god, they're reacting in awe here. Yeah, he's in the full outfit now.
Yeah, I don't know what metal.
But he still has eyebrows.
Still has eyebrows, yeah.
Golden.
Oh wait, does he have the circles that he has on the comic cover too?
Yeah,
like his
he does. Yeah,
his electric six pack.
I always kind of took them as sort of conductors almost.
Yeah,
but,
no, they are. That's what I said.
Yeah, but what's up?
Were you saying something?
Oh yeah, no, I just I'm not sure what metal the Destroyer is made out of, but it definitely doesn't hold a candle to the metal of Mjolnir, and just from the dying star.
Mjolnir.
So that's why he can hold his own.
Or
adamantium. Vibranium.
Oh, vibranium.
And how many fictional metals are there in the Marvel universe?
I don't know.
There's got to be a lot, right?
But once again, in an early Journey into Mystery comic, we do get a Magneto appearance. And I haven't read that comic, but now I kind of want to go back and see if Magneto can actually control Mjolnir. He might.
Can he control that or adamantium? Well, we know he can.
He definitely
he controls Wolverine.
Yeah.
What about vibranium?
Definitely would be able to in my mind, 100%.
Yes,
the only reason I think Mjolnir might be different is because there's a magical element to
Right.
it. So
There's a
you need to be
spell around
worthy,
it. Okay,
exactly.
okay.
But I'm not sure.
Interesting. I didn't think about that. Magneto
Well,
versus
Vision
Thor.
can do it.
Vision can do it. Yep.
Why can Vision do it?
That was one of my favorite scenes from was it Age of Ultron when they're all trying
that
to
was
lift
a great
that hammer.
They had that whole party.
Yeah,
Just like 10
that
minutes
was, and they're all
led up to
drinking.
it.
Wasn't it Cap who like moves it a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah.
And, like,
Well, I think there was a little debate on whether he moved it or if like
but they have that look on Thor's face where Thor like
he gets
looks
a little
really
nervous.
concerned for a second. That was the best part of Age of Ultron.
For all
for me,
intents
I
and
think.
purposes, Captain
So
America
good.
is the most noble, humble, and honorable being in the entire Marvel universe. For all intents and purposes, he should be able to lift Mjolnir, in my opinion.
I think
in the comics,
in
this comics where he has
So
lifted
good.
and used
No, he
it.
definitely has. But in the movie, like, I feel like
We'll get there in the movies.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
Unless
We'll get
he
there.
dies.
he is gonna die. He's gone. He's already signed off. He's deaders. The question is, who's gonna take the role? Who's gonna take the role?
There's no more chat.
I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it, guys.
That's not. I mean,
Maybe he'll come back in 5 years. Right?
But I thought I was gonna take Wolverine's death a lot harder than knowing I'd watched that character for
I cried
17
so hard
years.
during Logan. Yeah,
I know.
Every time.
It was. I know.
I
Logan.
went to go see it with friends.
It's 17 years with the same character. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Captain America won't even be that long. Say he dies in this upcoming Avengers 2019. It's only 8 years. We had Hugh Jackman as Wolverine pretty much every year, every other year
It's
for
pretty
17
insane.
years.
Yeah.
Right.
2000 to 2017. That's insane.
No one
Nobody's
else
going to
is
match
that.
that.
No one.
Nobody signs contracts like,
No one.
maximum we'll have these guys for like 7 years in
How
the
much
MCU,
money do you think arguably Hugh Jackman has made? And not even just from the movies, just in general, being Wolverine.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, with all the
Sponsors,
Yeah, if you're gonna put a
everything.
number on it,
back
what would you
at
say?
like part of the box office
Right.
profits. Oh,
Could you say he's made $500 million? I mean, could it be that
nah,
high?
maybe not. Couple tens of millions, probably. Like
Just
20,
a
30.
million?
Just tens of millions,
So
not
you
even
think
over 100
40
mil?
million?
No, tens of millions would be anywhere up to like 90 million.
You don't think
That's
he's
a
made
cop-out,
over
what you're
100
saying.
mil?
That could be 20 million or 90
maybe
million.
okay? In each of the X-Men movies he starred in, maybe he got.
What,
I don't think he
million
got
or
a
two?
full 20 million because those
No.
are big ensemble movies.
Okay.
No.
So
that's
and then
why,
he's
yeah.
got a lot of cameos in a bunch of the other ones.
Yeah.
I don't think it added up to more than 100 million.
No,
But
I
even
don't-
in his own
I'm just
movies?
saying.
Well, I would say probably
No.
the later ones. I would probably
His solo
maybe
ones?
later ones, but the first ones. he was
Logan's
new,
not that
he
high
was
budget
new,
of a movie.
He wasn't making that much.
Well,
money.
and he doesn't
But
know
in
the
fact,
rights
I
to
don't know.
Wolverine,
He didn't get a lot
so
of-
he
right.
probably hasn't made
Didn't
any
he
money.
didn't get a lot of that was his.
I also picture, but this is true or not, Hugh Jackman as being an actual like nice guy, very humble, not a big ego. He's probably not like demanding $20 million
Right.
salary.
Like,
I'm just saying
like John F.
I'm just saying
Robert
I
Downey
love
Jr.
Robert Downey Jr., but Robert Downey Jr. seems more of the type, and he is getting those huge paydays for those movies. But I don't see
yeah.
Hugh Jackman
But
as
still,
doing
Hugh
that.
Jackman
But
has
I don't know.
agents. Like Hugh Jackman
Right.
has representation.
Right.
There's money that's going to be distributed by a deal with him. But I hope the same what you're thinking.
I don't
I
know.
don't think like what did
Well, we should Google his net worth or whatever. Let's see. You know that's all X-Men money if you Google his net worth. So.
Did he get $40 million from Pirates of the Caribbean? Johnny Depp?
Oh yeah, Johnny Depp's got an insane amount of money for playing Jack Sparrow. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, but he is Jack Sparrow. He's the entire movie. So
can we get a movie update from someone?
Oh, somebody fill us in.
All right, we have right now we have the ice giants. They're about to kill Odin while he's in his Odin sleep.
With an ice dagger.
But with an ice dagger that they created because they're ice giants.
But Loki's
but Loki actually protects him, and what Loki's going to do is protect him and say, "I protected the king."
So Loki, his whole goal this whole time was to screw him over. How can we hate Loki?
Well, no, we screwed him over so he could take the king. He could take the role as king. He wants the throne over Thor.
Because who is Loki, Chris? What's his monikin? What is he called?
Loki, the ice giant. God of mischief.
God of mischief.
Yes, God of mischief.
He's very mischievous.
He's always pulling.
He didn't know Thor was coming back, and so he was going to be the hero until Thor showed up, and now he knows. Thor knows that. Yeah.
You know what I love too. Speaking of how this kind of switches into almost more of a comedic genre is like at the end of Thor 2, where you find out Loki's impersonating Odin, and it's like very ominous ending. And then when the first time you see them in Ragnarok, it's very comedic where he's posing as Odin and watching the play with like Matt Damon playing Loki, and he's like lounging and eating grapes, and it's like that's a great opportunity for, like we talked about with Mystique. It's a great opportunity for Anthony Hopkins to play like Loki playing Odin, where we talked about when Mystique turns into different characters. You have like Brian Cox gets to act as Mystique, as Stryker. You know what I mean? It gives a little range for that. Yeah. But I don't know. I was just thinking of that, like how funny
it's pretty
that
funny.
Part is. It's great. It's just it's such a testament to these great actors. It's like the casting works out, like, for the most part, like all these guys, Kevin Feige oversees a lot of the casting for the MCU, and his decisions have worked out.
So hold on. So Captain America: First Avenger came out after this?
2 months after this. Oh, well, 2.5 months.
I find it interesting that the little Super Mario thingy.
The Bifrost?
Yes, what was happening there with kind of like the ice or stuff that was, it was taking on the kind of appeal of a tree, which of course in Captain America we see that the tree is mentioned early on when Red Skull is trying to get the Tesseract. So a little interesting kind of reference there. I swear it looks like a tree a little bit.
They must have been filming these.
It's mainly what he did was like he pretty much froze the path to the ice giants planet.
Yeah, I just wondered if that was a reference to the tree. Almost.
They must have been filming these at the same time.
It's supposed to be the electricity getting frozen. So
Martin's just hold.
Yeah, so I mean, this was at this point when this came out in the MCU in 2011. Like those movies were way more spaced out. They weren't doing 2 to 3 movies a year like they are now in 2018.
Right.
Because you had the MCU was Iron Man and Incredible Hulk in 2008. No MCU movies in 2009. Jumped to Iron Man 2 in 2010, and then nothing for an entire year till this came out in May 2011. Then they had Captain America in July 2011, and then it jumped all the way to the Avengers in 2012. So, yeah, they were way more spaced out.
Yeah.
Back then.
So yeah, Loki can definitely hold his own with that spear, the scepter of Odin.
Yeah, you can.
That's the tree of life. That's what that is. That's the tree from Avatar. That's what that is.
It's the tree of life from who directed that movie?
Terrence Malick.
Terrence Malick.
I liked the creation of the universe. Hey Martin, we worked at the DGA during the Tree of Life. Didn't we have people? Weren't people walking out during the that movie?
Pretty sure they were.
I don't remember. Maybe.
I appreciated the artistic vision of the movie. I liked it, but to each their own. So they're fighting on the Bifrost.
Dude, every Thor fight ends here?
Maybe not the second one. Right.
Third one definitely does. Yeah, and I don't know about the second. I don't think
the second one is on Earth. Yeah, correct. Yeah, Chris is right. Ends on Earth.
Who was the villain in the second one?
It was like the Ether.
The villain was the
Dark Elves.
The Dark Elves, played by Christopher Eccleston, who was on Jameis on The Leftovers. He was the priest on The Leftovers.
Yeah.
He was also the villain in The Secret, The Dark is Rising.
I know. We will always plug The Leftovers on Martin and I are.
He was also the villain in The Secret, The Dark is Rising, who my cousins were the brothers of the lead actor in.
What?
Oh.
Yeah. They were the twin brothers in that movie. So, that movie went nowhere. Unfortunately.
Also tying into random movies, Ray Stevenson, who was one of the Warriors 3 in this, was in Punisher Warzone.
Yep.
We just did Punisher for our last episode, which I've never seen Punisher Warzone, but maybe we'll get to it someday.
I actually haven't seen it either.
I
just couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't bring
it.
myself to do it.
I mean, I love Ray Stevenson because
it's not great,
Yeah.
but I've seen it.
So you saw it and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first Punisher's better.
What's wrong with it?
It feels like it's an action movie made because we should make a sequel to make some money.
Okay.
That's what it feels like.
So Loki's
there's some fight scenes in it, but that's what it feels like.
Loki's got Mjolnir on his chest. How does that not break your bones?
Well, so that it's interesting.
It's not heavy, but you just can't pick it up.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like you can't lift it unless you're in an elevator.
Ooh, he's breaking the Bifrost.
Exactly.
Yeah, he realizes that it's the only thing he can do to stop the Bifrost from destroying all 9 realms. So
Yes.
9 realms. Which realm is Earth in? Is it one of the 9?
It's Midgard.
Yeah, it is one of the. Yeah, it's right.
Midgard.
It's called Midgard.
Right.
Kind of like Middle Earth.
I think that's kind of cool too. That Earth has like another.
Yeah.
I kind of like that in the MCU how Earth has different names. You have Midgard, and in Guardians of the Galaxy it's Terra. They call it Terra.
Right.
That's kind of cool because it's like how would beings outside of our world know it's called?
How would you perceive it?
How would you know it's called Earth?
And what do you call it?
So I think that's kind of cool. That's Midgard, Terra, whatever else,
And that's one of the interesting things. Like for all those Walking Dead fans, one of the things is like when you meet new people in Walking Dead, they call the walkers
different things. You're right,
call
biters,
zombies
walkers. That's
names
true.
Because of different.
Right.
Everyone has different names for them, and there's no consensus.
That's a good point. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Loki's hanging off the edge of the world here, and Thor.
Yeah, this scene always confused me a little bit.
Martin is so scared right now.
Oh yeah, this scene always.
Nice.
This is his horror movie falling into the abyss of space. That would be fucking terrifying, man. It's like George Clooney in Gravity.
This scene always confused me.
Yeah,
you go floating out forever. That's it.
Because why doesn't he just fucking take Mjolnir and just fly over and just save him? Like I'm just saying, just fly over in Mjolnir. I don't know.
Because he let go.
Just get Mjolnir.
You have brothers, right?
What's up?
You have brothers, right?
Yeah, I have a brother. Yeah, I'd let him go too.
That brother relationship's so tough, man.
I don't have a brother.
That's a choice Loki just made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Wait, when do we find out Loki didn't actually die?
Well,
Is that the end of this one, or do we not find out until the second
Thor
one?
2 in the second one.
So this one, you think he's...
No, we think he's dead. Yeah.
So they do a lot of that. They do a lot of that in the MCU. They do a lot of like
Avengers.
They do a lot of faking out.
Avengers was before.
Oh, that's true. Avengers
was it? Oh, then clearly Avengers.
Oh yeah, he comes through the portal at the beginning of Avengers with
right.
Selvig,
and we get the first look of
and Nick Fury.
Of Thanos, but yes,
the
Nick Fury.
that changed Ryan's
the MCU,
life.
The MCU has been criticized about like killing off people. They're not really dead, and that I mean, obviously with Infinity War, a lot of the big stars like Black Panther and Spider-Man, they've all fade out. We know there's sequels coming. It's like, how
are there sequels before Infinity War?
Are any of these going to be permanent? You know, I have a feeling Heimdall's going to be permanent. Loki's permanent. Like some of the ones near the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
but it's like
I think that was more
permanent though.
I don't think Loki's. I think Loki's done.
He should be gone. The thing is, the question I want to have is Gamora permanent.
Yeah, that's true. I have a feeling that could be. It should be. That would suck. That would take off all the emotional stuff if that wasn't. Well, I can see the ones at the end, like okay, them finding a way. To,
I feel like Gamora probably was not permanent because we get the shot of her inside the
talking to Thanos.
Talking to as a child. They're
in the Soul Stone. They're in the
Soul Stone too.
Well,
yeah.
I feel like
should have gone for the head.
He was.
Oh, in the comic book?
Wait, no. You just said it with so much.
Wait, don't tell me how the comic Infinity Gauntlet is resolved because I don't know.
Well,
I know Captain Marvel next year is going to set up a lot of that. I think.
I just know who's going to eventually kill Thanos because I'm sure they're not going to deviate.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I
know who it's going to be. Yeah, who is it?
No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Close your ears.
Yeah, close your ears.
I can't. I got earbuds in. Okay,
do it.
I don't want to know.
You are correct.
Are you done? Okay. Okay, done. It's David Dunn, right? It's David Dunn.
Who's David Dunn?
The person who kills Thanos?
Sorry, you can't just jump universes. You can't go from the Marvel universe to the Shyamalan universe.
What if Shyamalan directs like Avengers 6? Like, I don't know, David Dunn comes in and Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
Too much, Jack.
Too much. I'm
I don't know what it is, but all I feel like doing right now is watching Thor Ragnarok and eating a salami and cheese sandwich with some mayo.
Why salami?
I don't know. That's just what I feel like.
Yeah. You want to go to Cantor's?
Some Cape Cod chips.
I go to Cantor's right now.
What's Cantor's?
What? Wait, how long have you lived in Los Angeles for?
You're Jewish, you know Cantor's?
Wait, you're Jewish and you lived in Los Angeles for at least 7 years since I've known you. You don't know what Cantor's deli?
I know the deli that was next to the DGA, but I don't know.
That's Greenblatt's.
Greenblatt's.
Cantor's is the famous deli on Fairfax. It's been around for like 70, 80 years.
Okay, I'm not driving to fucking Fairfax.
Open 24 hours.
I would drive you right now.
No.
For your birthday, Ryan.
No, I'm
They
going
filmed
home.
so many movies in there.
It's
Like
Ryan's birthday
so many,
today.
right? So many movies filmed in there. Oh, it is Ryan's birthday. I forgot. Happy birthday, Collector!
We're going to Cantor's.
No.
That's my present to you.
Not even close.
We don't have to go tonight.
You couldn't.
Ryan, let's go and you can point out what are the Jewish deli foods I need to eat.
Dude, you're going to point out the Jewish stuff. Chad's going to point out the movies that have been shot there, and Chris and I are just going to eat.
Delightful.
Sounds like a typical episode of KFC.
Very true.
Oh, hold on, I just got to loosen my belt a little bit.
That's very true.
You notice how the bridge...
we digress.
The bridge... Yes, let's digress.
Sorry.
The bridge does not light up anymore like a rainbow. I think because it's
Well,
dead.
because the Bifrost is just
Thor
destroyed.
broke it.
Which shows he sacrificed
It's a dead Bifrost.
his love affair with Jane.
This is a cool set that their lab is, all the glass windows
Yeah,
looking out onto the town. So this was like a set they built in one of the facades in the back lot of this fake Western movie town in New Mexico. So, very cool. What? Whoa, that's it?
That's it.
Oh, that came up. The ending came up fast. We were in the credits,
now,
guys.
did we get a
We were in the credits.
end credit scene with this movie?
There is an end credit scene for this.
Okay.
Yes, it leads into the
Produced by
Avengers.
Kevin Feige.
Of course. That's good. This is a good movie. It's a good movie.
Like the word "solid" should be used for something that's very like
it gets a lot of credit. Obviously, we talked about how the tone and the intention and the direction of the MCU has changed. Obviously, over the 7 years since this and multiple movies, 15 movies or so, but this was necessary to set up this character, and it was done so well. I really think, and it really does hold up as an important piece of establishing this universe and Thor and all the supporting players. So.
Yeah.
I didn't see the reference, but I don't know. Maybe they do it later on. Steve Ditko, great Spider-Man artist from the 1960s, of course, created Spider-Man with Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby both did the interior art for this comic, for the original comic, and Kirby did the cover. But I don't remember seeing either of their names. Maybe they did. I don't know. Did you guys see Jack Kirby or Steve Ditko? Or no? I saw Stan.
I saw Stan too.
But it was like executive producer.
It might say something later about characters based on,
Yeah. So how's that pronounced? Idris or Idris?
Idris.
Idris?
Is it Idris?
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
And is that Jaime or Jamie?
I think it's Jamie.
Jamie, okay.
Renee Russo, I looked her up on IMDb earlier. She's only been in like 20-something movies. She's not been in that many movies at all. Or listed on not even movies, just like acting credits on IMDb.
That's it?
This was her first acting credit in like 6 years or so.
Wow.
She has not been. She was in a bunch of big movies in the 90s, like some of the Lethal Weapons and Ransom and
in The Line of Fire.
Yeah, and then but not a lot. Yeah, it's crazy.
Tin Cup.
Yep. Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
So we just saw some of the more inspired by the images inspired by the Hubble Space Telescope of the nebulas and galaxies, which is so cool. I love that stuff. I'm a big fan.
Apparently freaks Martin out, but that's
I watch several shows on the Science Channel that cover that, like Space's Deepest Secrets and things like that. Like I love that
Stan
stuff.
the Man. I love how
Stan the Man is Stan Lee's official credit in this movie.
Because that is actually his nickname in real life. He goes by Stan and then in quotations the Man Lee. So.
I love it.
Which, of course, do you guys know Stan Lee's actual real name?
Stanley Lee.
No.
Stanley Levenstein.
Closer, but no. It's actually Lieber, but he shortened it because it sounded
Jewish?
better. Yeah, he is Jewish.
Wow.
His brother, Larry Lieber, is also a famous artist.
Throw a penny at the screen. This Jewish person.
What? Oh, we got a Foo Fighters song.
That's weird.
Playing in it, which you don't get a lot of pop songs in Marvel movies. This was also playing earlier when they were in the bar. This was playing in the bar.
That's why they did it.
I actually just saw the Foo Fighters about 3 weeks ago. It was pretty cool, and they played this song, and I was actually thinking, I saw them live, and I was thinking, where do I know this song from? Like, I know this song from somewhere, right? And my friend Tom was with me, this shout out to Tom Pinchuk. He's into comics, and he writes comics. He's a writer and everything. He was like, this was in Thor. And I was like, yes, that is where I know it from. It's from Thor.
Because with you at the concert.
Yeah, he was there. So I think I mean, I haven't watched Thor in a while, but a lot of times, like, I'll record stuff on FX or something, and it'll always be the end of the end. It'll catch like the last minute of the credits of whatever. There's always a Marvel movie on whatever show before the show I'm recording, and it always catches like part of this song.
Oh,
really?
So I'm like, Thor must be on a lot. And I'm always like hearing this song. So yeah, it was kind of cool. Yeah, I heard them. I heard Foo Fighters and Dave Grohl do this live. I don't know. It's on the Thor soundtrack.
I'm looking at these drivers here, and I'm like, which one of these drivers is now a director? You know what I mean? Like, everybody came to
maybe
Los
not
Angeles
in 7 years. I don't know. That's maybe 20 years. You never know. You never know.
I mean, maybe not a director or a big budget, but they might have directed something small.
Yeah. I mean, that's every time I look at someone working in that line, I'm like, what creative life did you come here for? You know, I'm at Priscilla's coffee shop. I'm like looking at everybody working there. I'm like, what? Did you come here to make music?
I think about that.
Yeah.
I just wonder every like waitress or waiter or Starbucks person, that's which are great jobs and stuff. I'm just saying like a lot of that's kind of maybe the stereotypical thing. I don't know how true it is, but like people want to be writers and actors. Those are like
I'd say it's pretty
do that to make money while they go out and audition and stuff like that. And somebody's gonna make it big. Yeah. You know,
if you're from Podunk, Utah.
One of the guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which has been on since 2004. They just filmed that on their own and submitted it to FX and ended up turning into a show. I forget which. I think it was Rob McElhenney. Who plays Mac. I'm totally butchering the name, but he co-created it. I think he was working as a server at the Hard Rock Cafe in Universal City Walk.
Really?
Here in LA when that got picked up. And now look at they were there 13, 14 seasons in or something, still doing it.
That just tells you
it's like crazy. You never know.
Don't come here thinking right away you're going to make it big.
No. You never know. But you never know. You never know when your big break is going to come and where it's going to come from. And
the key is just to not give up.
No, and keep your connections open. I've been giving a lot of advice. I've been working in this industry for 10 years, and
you've made it.
Well, I'm working on a big movie and stuff. It's exciting, and I've done a lot of cool things, worked a lot of cool places. But I found myself giving a lot of advice to recent graduates or people who are currently in school. I went to Boston University, so I'm very involved in the alumni network. And a lot of the advice I give is like keep your connections open. Yeah. Really use LinkedIn or like network with people, and you never know where some future job, some connection of somebody who works somewhere will help you get that job you're looking for in this industry.
I can say I knew Chad and Martin back in the day. I knew them when they were just scruffy little theater managers.
Guys, we met the year this movie came out.
Did we?
2011.
Oh, wow.
Martin and I started at the Directors Guild of America on the same day. January 2011, the week of the DGA Awards, and then Ryan was working there. What department were you in there?
I was actually a theater manager for a little while before I started in the awards department.
Were you?
Really?
Okay.
I didn't know you were a theater manager.
Wait, not when we were.
No, not when
you were already in the awards department when we started there. So
I was a theater manager before you guys.
Sense. When you came back down as a theater manager, you hated it.
That is true.
That's because you were there before.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So
makes so much sense.
So we've all done a lot since then. So it's very fast paced. For any of you interested in working in the industry, if you're looking to get in, it's very fast paced. It's very competitive, but if you really try hard, don't give up. Use your connections. Reach out to people. Use your whatever school you went to, your alumni network, people you interviewed with, worked with.
There we go, Jack Kirby.
Oh, there we go. In the special thanks.
No Steve
Anyways,
Ditko.
That's my
what the
advice,
fuck? How do you not give Steve Ditko praise?
Maybe this is before Kodak motion picture film shot. Like I said, last one shot fully in 35mm. before they all went digital.
From the Panavision.
Oh wait, that's right. Steve Ditko doesn't want praise, so never.
Thor returned in the Avengers.
Oh wow. Oh,
well. That was a year away at this
just
point.
Hit the end of the credits to see what happened.
Cool. Here's the end credit scene.
Oh. I don't remember this.
Here we go.
I do now.
Dr. Selvig.
Oh, this is where lead into Avengers.
You know who's gonna pop up here.
Who?
Nope. There we go. Samuel L.
Oh, gotcha.
Dr. Selvig.
To work on the Tesseract like he does to understand the power. That's right.
Yes, because it's been in the possession of S.H.I.E.L.D. since the 1940s after it was taken from Red Skull, which will... Then we see the whole backstory of the Tesseract almost pretty much in the next movie, Captain America, a couple months after this.
And then if you're a really, really hardcore person, you watched Agent Carter and you saw the development of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Ooh, I did watch Agent Carter. Agent Carter was really good.
Yeah, I liked it. I was disappointed when it didn't get picked up for a second season.
Let's get some more Haley Atwell, yeah.
No,
it made it two. It made it 2 seasons,
Did it get canceled?
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I think it made it 2.
Yeah,
okay,
two.
so hold on. That got canceled before Iron Fist.
That got canceled like 2 years ago.
People are talking about like
Iron
Fist is the first Marvel.
No, Agent Carter got canceled before.
Carter and the Immortals got canceled before that.
Right.
Well, there is some theory right now that the reason that Luke Cage and Iron Fist got canceled is because they're maybe leading into what the series is. It's Power Man and Iron Fist. That is an actual comic book series where they team up together. So I think there's some theory they're going to team up together. Yeah.
Here we got Loki in the reflection. So now you're seeing the influence Loki's going to have over Selvig going into the Avengers, which is a bit where Selvig is kind of brainwashed for most of that. Leading into it's the Mind Stone,
which it didn't totally make sense there because he didn't have the stone in that moment. He didn't control him yet, so that was a little weird. Like he shouldn't have control.
Which stone is it in the Tesseract? Mind?
No, not Mind. The Mind Stone.
It is Mind. Okay. Yeah. Which doesn't that end up in his
scepter?
Yep. Okay, gotcha.
Perfect for him. The Mind Stone for Loki.
The thing is, what that plays into it plays in the whole Donald Blake thing. Because
wait, what?
The whole Donald Blake thing, because Thor's original origin, he comes back.
Yeah,
he comes down and takes the persona of Donald Blake on Earth.
Oh, I see.
This is what Loki just did.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to the Iron Man post-credit scene where Nick Fury only appears in that post-credit scene, which he probably should have been in the Incredible Hulk post-credit scene. Remember where we talked about it was Tony Stark coming to recruit General Ross about the Hulk, where it probably should have been Nick Fury.
Makes less sense.
It definitely should have been Nick Fury, but they probably
I know,
it was
there's probably complications with contracts.
Exactly.
Oh no,
contract stuff. Always.
No. I think it was mainly because we need to put Iron Man in it because Iron Man is a successful movie, and we need to put him in it to connect it.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's why. And at that time, we only seen Samuel Jackson at the very end of that movie. He hadn't popped up at all. So him popping up at the very end of this one, if people didn't stay to watch it, no one even seen him.
No one knew at this point.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, people were starting to catch on to the MCU and knowing it was building towards something big, which is the Avengers would be a year later. So people knew people were going to watch this leading up to the Avengers.
So us working at the DGA, we kind of got robbed of that realization to stay for the credits because it was so industry standard to stay for the credits. You know what I mean? So just imagine if we were normal consumers realizing, maybe we need to stay for the credits.
I mean, I'm surprised I still talk to people who are like, what? There was something after the credits? Like, how do you not know to stay? Yeah. Like, not just Marvel movies. A lot of movies do that now. Just stay. You never know. You're paying a lot of money for a ticket. Yeah. Watch the whole damn movie.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before, but I don't know. Anyways,
So every time I leave early, it hurts my soul.
So we've now watched the first Thor movie. So ultimately, what are your guys' feelings? How do you feel about the first Thor? Really?
I think it's good. I think it's well done. Brandon's a good director. He really is.
Great intro of the Thor character.
Yeah, for sure.
He needs more credit.
Yep.
Do we know Thor's last name?
World.
Does Thor have a last name?
Odin's son.
No, you're actually thinking right.
Yes.
Thor Odin's son.
Well, at one point he calls Coulson son of Cole in this movie. That's the structure. No, he does, because that's the structure. There's the structure of their last name system, which is how a lot of last names in our actual human history were developed.
Yeah, think about
based on
my father. Like how many like older movies you see that I'm
based
not
on based on who you were descended from, or based on what your occupation was.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of
that's what Doctor Strange calls him in Thor Ragnarok. He says, "Thor Odinson, are you here?"
Yeah, there you go.
So.
Boom. There's your answer.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyways,
Sam.
All right, good movie, guys.
And on that, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, this has been Cape Seat Free. Thanks for joining us, and follow us and like us on everything, and we'll see you for the next one. So
yes,
right?
Cape Seat Free.
Later.
I'll let you, boy. Y'all don't know. I did it once.
Y'all don't know, man.
We don't know. Y'all don't know either.
I can't believe we didn't throw that out once. Wow.
Wait, hold on. We haven't stopped yet. I'm just letting you know. We didn't do one time. We didn't do it's your own damn fault.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant to say.
Shit.
That's what I meant to say.
Oh, wait. Before we go, what can we apply that to in this movie?
Chris, you do it because it's your
shoot. It was,
all right, Selvig and Jane Foster, they were driving through the desert and then into the cyclone that Thor slammed into. Why would they drive into that?
Yeah, they just popped in. I guess it was coming down.
Yeah, Chris.
Well, but Thor losing his powers after going down there trying to start a war.
That's your own damn fault.
That's his own damn fault.
Your own damn fault. Hashtag that shit. Your own
damn fault.
That was definitely your own damn fault.
Oh, we almost forgot to get that in. All right, there we go.
We got it. We got it.
Peace out.
See you, Capers.
Shawasaki.